Good evening, welcome to SimPlay Motorsport. Apologies for the slight delay, slight voice chat problems on the PlayStation. It means that we've just had a little bit of a delayed start here on the stream. But we are here, we are live. Mathew, Duffin and Kelly Davis in the commentary box to bring you all the action with such a short practice session. Before we hear from Kelly, just a quick run through of the championship standings. It is Kieran O'Reilly, 76 points clear of Ben Ruck, then it's Dan Davis 92 behind. No Brandon Williams here tonight. He will be out the championship running tonight. Then it's Jamal Cloudney and McGowan. De Bont overtaker. Matt Wright leader in gold from Patrick Leger. He's now on holiday for 2 weeks. Mike Matthews from Hibbs. Goudet, Cardno, Harris, Ramsel, Stardog, Class, Smith, Millington, Skunky, Cairns, Hoffer, Rosowski, Hale and Sullivan out there at the moment. In terms of that constructors fight, three teams can still win it. It's between Audio Sport, Dapper Racing. They're the two closest ones. 272 points separate them, with Cloud9 Cloud9 in the wrecking bin, but no overtaker, so it would be hard for them to stay in it. SimPlay Racing fourth from Greasy Bandits Racing, AS Racing, Team GBR, Team RRM, Utopia Motorsport, Quad Motorsport, Roadrunner Motors, Full Sense Short Lords and Effect Motorsport. We've got all that out of the way. Kelly, good evening. How are you? How are we feeling for Valencia?
Yeah, I'm in good shape, because luckily I don't have to race this track. Yeah, I would say not a driver's favourite, this one, is it, Matt? But more of a motorcycle track.
Yes, I'd agree with that one. Definitely a motorcycle track. Obviously, the GT World Challenge Europe come here. There was actually a big crash between a Lamborghini and a BMW M4 in the real world this season, which led to Lamborghini hitting the wall and causing a huge fire. Actually, that may have been the other back track of Misano, but I know they do race here this year. It's not a favourite. Hard to find a rhythm around this circuit, I find, Kelly. I don't know about yourself, but it just feels like there's... For me personally, it feels like there's no flow. Hard to get into a rhythm.
Yeah, absolutely. It's got, and we'll get into it a bit later, it's got that nasty uphill chicane towards the end of the lap, which probably on a motorbike is reasonably easy, which you've got to kind of thread the eye of a needle to get through it. Yeah, it's a tough one. It really is, and I can't pinpoint what the actual problem with it, but yeah, again, you're right. It is hard to get into a rhythm, into a flow. But here's the thing, Matt. It's the same for everybody.
Exactly, it is the same for everybody. And this is going to be the interesting one now. You're seeing the temperatures on your screen. 29 degrees ambient, 38 track. That's going to get hotter as we go into the next. Bearing in mind, we skip 2 hours almost. There is no quali 1, so we go from 11, or coming up now to 12 p.m. We skip straight to 1 p.m. for the first race, the sprint race. Track temp was touching 40, if not going over 40 degrees. This could be on curbs that are quite abrasive, a circuit that's made more for bikes than cars. Race 2 could be a real talking point. A lot of cars last night took tyres. I think we could be in for a discussion tonight of this tyre option.
That would be nice for us to, for that, something for extra for the drivers to think about. And as I said, it's the same for everyone else. And this is a track, as I said, that's not a driver's favourite, so isn't used that much. A lot of these guys haven't had lots of experience on this track, so that could throw up some surprises tonight. I mean, at the moment, I'm on board with Kieran O'Reilly, our championship leader, and in free practice, he's only in 10th place at the moment. Yeah. And the times are not as close as they have been on the well-known track, so this could throw up a couple of surprises tonight.
And obviously this is free practice. Drivers have done a lot of different running. I'm looking at the best lap times here and what fuel drivers have on board. A lot of different fuel strategies going on for the best lap times at the minute, so kind of pace a little unknown at the moment. If I'm looking down at O'Reilly, like you said, down in 10th place at the moment, you know, he's just, I mean, his best lap was actually an invalidated one of a 31.383.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know what fuel he's done for that 10th place at the minute. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. Track limits, again, going to be key because you can cut a few of the corners, take a little too much curb. But you can also run very wide. Turn 1 will be the prime example of that one, which we'll see in a moment or two.
Yeah. Matt, sorry, just 1 sec. You just got to excuse me. I will be right back before we start. No
problem.
2 seconds.
No problem. So while Kelly is away, the poll has gone up. Rosowski, De Bont, Clouden and other. If you pick other, please comment who you have selected. Good evening to Rob Smith, Gary Clarbel, Peaceful Stepdad Tips, Berserker in the chat. Rob Smith as well, who said that I always say I hate this track, but I'm not quite enjoying the racing. Not many overtaking points. That is true. And Matthias Class as well, saying that the right side always a problem on this circuit. Track limits are weird on some points of the corners here too, so drive-throughs a real possibility. We saw a couple of drive-throughs last night. It's going to be an interesting one. In fact, on Tuesday night, it's going to be an interesting one tonight to see what happens. But we've got an 18-car grid, good field for tonight's race, and 40 seconds till we take to the start. There's not going to be any fuel strategy, and I doubt there's going to be tyres taken in this 15-minute sprint. It is just going to be a splash, dash, run to the very end. So fuel should all be around the same level, and drivers will be now getting prepared. 7 platinum drivers on the grid, a bit more than recent weeks, which is good to see. And all them gold drivers down from Steve Millington in 8th all the way down to Matt Wright in 18th. Kelly, I know you've just come back. I'm going to press you for a quick race winner.
Just my apologies. That was very unprofessional of me. Considering De Bont was going extremely well in free practice, and he's right towards the beginning up the grid, I would say De Bont has got a good chance. Then again, McGowan's quick. Clouden is quick. McGowan's no slouch. Look, the whole top 7.
Yeah.
De Bont.
I'm going Rizalski.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Well, the grid order will kind of slightly be different because the 2 Utopia Motorsport cars haven't readied up for the start of this race, so they will be starting from the pit lane. Let's get the grid order on the screen now. We'll quickly run you through it then before they get to Sector 1. And it all changes. So it is going to be that of Rizalski alongside De Bont on the front row of the grid, the Polish driver versus the Belgian driver in the BMW and the Ferrari. Row 2 will be McGowan and Clouden. 2 McLarens on that second row. That's going to be an interesting one to keep our eyes on. Then the Audio Sport, row 3. Dan Davis ahead of Ben Rook after Ben Rook overtook him in the championship standings last week. Kieran O'Reilly is then the last platinum driver in P7 alongside Steve Millington, the first of the gold drivers, which will then be followed by Class and Rob Smith, P9 and 10. P11 and 12 is that for Stardog and Robert Ramsell, who will be going... who won't be going alongside each other. Obviously, everybody's been promoted one. Harris should have been from 13th alongside Cardno. That is not going to happen now either because Harris is in the pit lane. Then it's the Greasy Bandits row... I can't remember what row we're on now, but they're 15th and 16th. Mike Matthews, and then an all SimPlay Racing row as well with Mike Matthews and Matt Wright in this one then. I'm very interested to see what's going to happen in this race because I feel we're going to be in for an interesting one. Overtaking difficult around here. Again, with it not being a traditional circuit, overtaking is going to just be that little bit harder. And I think that we are in for potentially, you know, we saw last night there was a few battles happening, but a lot of follow the leader type racing almost. I think it could be a strategy race that wins you this one.
Yeah, there's not a lot of overtaking opportunities on this one, is there? What can we say? Possibly into turn 2 if you get a good run through 1.
Yeah.
Other than that,
6. Just having a quick count, so 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 6. Then you've got kind of a kink, which will be classed as 7 because it's a bike track. So turn 8, the long left-hander. Then you've got 9, 10, 11, into 12, 13. Yeah, so turn 14. So handful of overtaking opportunities.
Yes. So we'll see. Yeah, it might well, as you say, be a very follow my leader. And this, they're just coming into the final corner. That's another one, another weird corner. That final corner. You seem to want to go take more speed into it. But anyway, we're nearly about ready to start.
Well, let's see what happens here. It is the penultimate week of championships. Can that Constructors be won by Team Audio Sport tonight? We'll keep our eyes on that one. Looks good considering Williams isn't here. But we're green and go for round number 24 of the season. De Bont immediately tucks in behind Rizalski. That's actually compromised him a bit at the start. Maybe he had a poor getaway. That's put Jamal Clouden on the outside of De Bont for turn 1. Not going to get it done through there. Bit of contact there between Ian McGowan and the pink-trimmed Lamborghini of Ben Rook, who's already jumped Dan Davis at the start of this race. Dan trying to cover off O'Reilly, and O'Reilly tags the back of Dan. Did it look like... We'll have to see that one again. I'm not sure if Dan left enough of a gap there, but O'Reilly did tap him round. That's caused a few of the gold drivers to have a few dramas as well. O'Reilly definitely caught up in that one, and that is Rob Ramsell just getting past him, and Mike Matthews. We see Stardog there involved in it as well in the background, so he's now gone on the back of O'Reilly with Dan Davis on the back of him. But Rizalski did the start he needed. Clouden has since jumped that of De Bont as well, so Clouden up into second place ahead of De Bont. Then it's Ben Rook sitting 4th from Ian McGowan. Then it's Steve Millington up into 6th from Cardno. Matt Wright, John Goudet going side by side with Class here. Class will have that inside line. Goudet just breaks a little later, but Class comes back at him mid-corner, gets the exit. It's are going to flick left here at the moment, and then to the right. John's still got a nose in, gets that inside line, still there for the next part. Not really an overtaking opportunity, and that's just kind of how this circuit has worked out. It's worked in the favour of John there.
Absolutely. Into turn one, it was McGowan was quite quick on the brakes, gave a little bit of a shockwave back through to Dan, to O'Reilly. As they went down into turn two, O'Reilly was on the inside of Dan. I'd like to look at some other angles, but I was probably a bit 50-50. O'Reilly was a little bit keen on the inside, and Dan might have turned in a little bit early. But the fact of the matter is, they are both gone backwards. O'Reilly's in the pit straight away. He's pulled the trigger already.
Yeah, so Ben Rook.
Dan's gone forward and decided to take another lap. So
well, Dan's kind of not in the traffic, is he, at the moment? He's got a bit of a space. Wow, Class took a very wide line there. He was coming back from Catalonia.
So
but yeah, Dan's kind of not in that traffic up until now, Kelly. So he's only now just got onto the back of the queue. So had a bit of breathing room. But Ben, Millington and O'Reilly, in fact, Millington's actually done his pit stop before Ben. Will he come out of the pits ahead of Ben? We'll wait and see who comes. No, Ben gets off the limiter first, so it just must have been because Millington had an earlier grid box. That's John Goudet off. Coming through the hairpin. Not sure what's happened to John there, but he's gone straight on a little bit. And Dan now on this queue with Ramsell, Mike Matthews and Matthias Claes. Here, Dan might think of pitting at the end of this one to try and overcut O'Reilly.
He's going to have to use some strategy on this one. And, other than that little incident, I think most was clean, to be fair. A good start to this race. We'll see how that continues. And as they come round, Rolzowski is still... he's dropped Clouden a little bit now, hasn't he? With a 2-second gap out in front. De Bont in third, still close on the back of Clouden. McGowan's still in there as well. And see what Dan does. See if he... chooses to pit this one. He's in traffic.
Sorry, Kelly, De Bont has chose to go into the pit lane. McGowan has stayed out. That is Matt Wright, who's chosen to box as well, just on board with Claes. And Rob Ramsell comes in the pits. That's one car that Dan doesn't have to worry about for the time being, but it's how quick he can get on the back of Class. John Goudet also in the pits in the background, so several more pit runners this time around. But Jamal's dropped, it was De Bont who was behind him. De Bont's obviously now pitted. Where's Ben Rook in all this? He was behind De Bont before 13th. The pit stop. Will Ben Rook be able to jump De Bont in the pit lane then? De Bont is still orange. I think Ben Rook's going to have him done here. He's not yet gone green. Goes green now. It's a short run. He's got one of the earlier boxes. There you see De Bont at the bottom of your screen. Just exiting the pit lane. Here comes Ben Rook steaming down into turn one. De Bont will just stay ahead. And... oh no, he doesn't. No, he's had a bit of a wiggle on the exit coming out the pit lane. So Ben's got that inside line going into two, and Ben's through.
Yes, indeed. It was very touch and go there, though. De Bont coming out of the pits, Ben Rook on the inside. If De Bont hadn't gone wide, it might have been, a little bit of pushing and shoving there. But Ben Rook, is this been a masterclass for Ben? Can he win this from this position?
Well, it'll be interesting to see what he can do. Obviously, Rozalski was ahead of Ben when Ben pitted, as was Jamal Clouden, so they'll be the interesting ones to keep our eyes on at the moment. But Mike Matthews within a second to Class trying to gain also on Cardno. Dan's a second back from Mike, so Dan not really gaining on the back of him at the moment, kind of just keeping his ground, seeing what the others do in front of him, I suppose. Nobody's came into the pits this lap, and Class and Mike both stay out, as does Dan Davis. So Dan's going to try and catch Mike.
Different strategy
overall here, 100%. I think he's got to make that overcut work here. The overcut from De Bont did not work on Ben Rook, so Dan's got to go a bit longer than what he normally would probably do to make sure he overcuts that of Kieran O'Reilly, who's ahead of Ramsell and Hibbs and has pulled quite the gap over Ramsell and Hibbs already. Ramsell's got Hibbs on the back of him.
Absolutely. Good evening to all those in the chat. We haven't said anything to anybody yet, so Rob Smith and Chris Rock seem to be and Gary Carball in there as well, seem to be the prominent ones at the moment. Good evening, guys. Glad to see you back like you do every week. Glad to have you there.
Yeah, indeed. So this is the fight between Class and Mike Matthews at the moment. Closest battle on the circuit so far in this race this evening. What will Mike be able to do? Will Mike think of maybe pulling the undercut on Class? No, because Class has gone very, very wide. And that is one of the overtaking opportunities. And, well, he made it pretty easy for Mike there. Opened the door, showed Mike through, and Mike doesn't need a second invitation to take that one.
Absolutely, and while they're messing about, that brings Dan right back up onto the back of them very quickly while they're just jostling for position. So Dan back in this one. I don't know if he was just pacing himself there, or he was genuinely not on the same pace as these two. We will see. There's been a talk, as you said, about tyres this evening. Not that should make too much of a difference in this sprint race. The feature race is where it's going to make a difference. So a bit of tyre saving is going to come into play later on this evening. Yeah. But for this sprint race, shouldn't be too much of an issue.
No, shouldn't be too much of an issue at all. So Class actually pitted this. That gives Dan a bit more free air onto the back then of Mike Matthews now. This is just dropping down with Hibbs, who's trying to get on the back of Rob Ramsell. Rob Ramsell's really started to impress towards the end of this season. Really seems like he's started to find his feet in this pro category as the season's gone on, getting a few better gold results. So it'll be interesting to see what Rob can do. But also Hibbs, he's also gone better as the season's gone on. Jamal Clouden was the next driver in the pit lane. He comes out the pits and the overcut has not worked for him either. He's going to come out behind that of Ben Rook. Where's Dan Davis gone? That's Matt Wright. Sorry, that's why I'm getting confused with McLaren's. That was Matt Wright behind Jamal Clouden. So Clouden loses out to both DeBont and Ben Rook. So at the moment, Ben second place at the moment. But Rosowski's going to take some catching because he's the fastest man on the circuit.
Yes, indeed. So, interesting play of strategy halfway through the race. And, it's all very interesting already, Matt, isn't it?
It is interesting already. O'Reilly's on the back of Class and Millington. This is for 13th and 12th and 11th, obviously before the others pit at the moment. Audio Sport do not have the constructors at the minute. Chris, Class looking to that inside, and O'Reilly goes right around the outside. Class probably not wanting to fight that one, and that's something we might start to see even more into next season when the different categories come into play as potentially their own championships. The admins will obviously discuss this in the off season, but you could see these kind of strategies happening next season depending on what the points discussion will be talked about in terms of overall or per class. But Class, they certainly didn't fight O'Reilly too hard.
Yes, I'm kind of hoping that they don't change the points, the admins, but Class wins, yes, points change, yeah. Anyway, that'll be for discussion. Not that I've got anything to do with it, but I just turn up and chat.
And do the odd race every now and again. In fact, you'll be back on the track next week, won't you?
I will,
McGowan's
looking
just
forward
left
to
the
it.
pit lane. Sorry, Kelly. Ben's got past him as well. McGowan jumps that of Clouden. So Clouden must have had a mistake somewhere because McGowan's jumped in by quite the margin. And, so far so good if you're Ben Rook, still net second.
O'Reilly having a look up the inside of Millington. Has he got the job done? Oh, they touched doors a little bit. This has given Clase opportunity to go past Millington as well. So Millington got mugged for two places there in that one corner. No, he's back again. Millington comes back down the inside, dives up the inside on Clase and takes that position back.
Yeah, it's giving Rob Ramsell the opportunity to have a look up the inside. It'll be outside for next corner, and this is the problem with this circuit. You've really got to get the move done because it's literally left, right, left all over the place. So if you think you've got it done on one corner, you haven't, because the next corner, they're right back there. And that's what we saw with Goudet in Class earlier on in this race, and that's exactly what we just saw there. Class now getting turn 8 correct and not allowing Ramsell through. Right, Rosowski's in and Cordno's in. Cordno's not the threat for Ben, but Ben's only just coming through this strange-looking chicane towards the final corner, while Rosowski isn't yet stationary in his box, but will be very soon. He stops now. Oh, Ben with a slide out the final corner. That's just going to lost him a tenth for two. Rosowski's done. He's already going to come off his limiter, and that will be a comfortable pit exit. Rosowski holds this lead.
Yeah. He has, yes, and he's, as you say, comfortably in the distance. He's got that done, so Ben's going to have to catch him and pass him if he wants to win this one. But solid position right now, and more importantly, he's ahead of his championship rival of O'Reilly by quite some margin at the moment, quite a few points.
DeBont's just taken the fastest lap of the race. We've got Clouden on the back of McGowan here at this moment. We've also got Class still on the back of Millington. In fact, look at Class, Millington, Ramsell and Hibbs. Wow, it's 4 abreast nearly in towards turn number 2. And Ramsell gets underneath that of his teammate Steve Millington. Will that be the job done? No, still together. I think Millington's now going to tuck back in behind. No, he's not. He's going to attack his teammate up the inside. Ooh. This has allowed Class to get away a little bit. Millington didn't get the exit from the corner, so that's allowed Ramsell through. Hibbs still with them, so Class has pulled away a little bit there. But Millington and Ramsell really going hard at it, and Hibbs now having a look and can't get the job done there. Great little battle there.
Absolutely, some great driving there from the Quantum Motorsport boys. And Hibbs, we haven't talked too much about Hibbs' season. He's the reigning Pro-Am champion, and I think he's had a solid but quiet season, don't you?
I think he's kind of gone under the radar a little bit, but he's definitely sort of found his feet and been a bit more up there as the season's gone on.
Yeah, I think he's had as I said, as you said, under the radar. A little bit, but been solid. I think it's a solid start for him in Pro, don't you?
100%. He's built a foundation now to sort of build upon going forward, so we'll see what happens there. Dan Davis into the pit with damage, it looks like, on the front of his car. Definite damage. Right. The bonnet is lifted, so that is Dan Davis. Whatever strategy he was trying to pull has now not worked. Will he repair that damage with 3.5 minutes left? I think he'd be foolish to do so, but whatever Dan has done, he's definitely had an off, and that's not going to help his strategy out at all.
Certainly couldn't have been with the first lap incident, so...
no, it wasn't there earlier on. It had to be while he's been following Mike.
He sat in the pits quite a while. Surely he wouldn't repair the damage. Does he know he's got damage?
Depends on how bad the damage is, though, Kelly. Depends on how bad the damage is. If the wheel's at an angle, he possibly feels like he needs to repair it. This is definite repair damage from Dan. He's in too long. He's in way too long, and he's tumbled down the order. Where's 741? He's last. Dan is last in the category at the moment. So, yeah, Dan Davis, not the points he needed, and that's probably going to be his championship over.
O'Reilly having a go at Cardano, whichever turn that is, and seems to get the job done. So O'Reilly recovering from that first lap incident up into 10th. And I know he's going to...
He's 9th.
9th, I beg your pardon. Matt Wright, the next one ahead, and a whole train of them ahead. It'd be nice if he could cruise up and get the next 3 places quite easily, but I've got my doubts in 2 minutes.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a net 7th. O'Reilly. I think he should jump Mike and Michael Harris. Definitely Harris he'll jump, but Mike will be the different story there. So, yeah, let's wait and see what happens to Kieran O'Reilly in this race. So Cardno's lost out. Hibbs is still behind that of Millington at the moment. We've got Clouden still chasing down after McGowan in this one as well. And Mike Matthews and Michael Harris yet to pit in this race. Michael Harris, in fact, Dan, that shows how extensive Dan's damage was, by the way. Dan's been lapped by Mike and Michael Harris.
Yeah, that's this race over. Clouden nearly got into the back of McGowan then very, very late on the brakes. He's pushing very hard to try and make that position on McGowan, but he was so close to ploughing into the back of McGowan just in that turn too.
Chris has just said in the chat that Ben's first podium at SimPlay was at Valencia in his first season. So a good omen for Ben coming back to Valencia a couple of seasons later. What can Ben do, though? He's currently net second. I assume Mike's going to tumble down the order a little bit, but where he'll come out, I don't know. I think he'll be top 10, Mike, but it just depends on where and when he pulls that trigger. I think he's pulling the trigger now. Yes, he is. He's just come into the pit lane now, so we'll see where... No, he hasn't really, because it's final lap, and his pit box would have been after the start line. So Harris is going to have to box this lap as well. And that'll release Dan. Not that it's going to matter, because Dan is well down the order from Stardog. He's going to take a miracle and a big bit of damage for Stardog for Dan to gain even a place in this race. But there goes Rozalski. There goes Ben Rook. We're currently still on McGowan and Clouden at the moment. And Mike's not yet away. He's not yet gone green. Very first pit box for Mike Mathew. Still not gone green. So a bit of a long stop. Goes green now. Here comes Kieran O'Reilly coming down the start straight. Mike should have him done. And I think will have him done as they come through into turn 1. Mike's gone very, very wide as he understeers, but stays ahead of Kieran O'Reilly more importantly. So that will help Ben. Where did Michael Harris feed out of the pit lane? Comes out now. That is John Goudet in the background. So Harris is down in 14th place in this one. But the fight at the moment, Jamal Clouden, who is on the back of McGowan. This is the final lap of the race. Rozalski's been pretty comfortable.
Absolutely. Is it Ben's second season? Or third? Second season, isn't it?
Fourth season, I think it might be.
Is it? No, surely not.
No, it might be his third. Really? Might be his third. Yes.
Anyway, I couldn't think. I'm thinking he's been here for a while, but not been here for a while. If you know what I mean. If that makes any sense whatsoever.
I fully get what you're saying. Yeah, fully get what you're saying.
Yeah.
So anyway. Here we go then. Through this will be another second place here, says Chris in the chat. Well, Rozalski's been the man comfortable in the sprint. We'll see what he can do in the feature race. That is for sure. Done a lot of testing this week as Rosowski. Seen him in the lobby quite a lot, so it's going to be interesting to see what he does. McGowan hits the curb, Clouden hits the curb. That's put him off. This could allow Matt Wright to have a run. We're going to jump, though, to Rosowski, who's going to come and take his first ever SimPlay Motorsport win here at Valencia in the sprint. He wins from Ben Rook, second place, to Bont will be P3. From then, that of Ian McGowan. It is then going to be a gold win for Matt Wright, who will be ahead of Jamal Clouden after Clouden's mistake at the end. Mike Matthews will hold off Kieran O'Reilly for 7th, O'Reilly 8th, Cordno 9th, with Class taking P10. Then it will be Rob Ramsell in 11th from Steve Millington, who fends off that of Hibbs. Harris looks like he's going to take 14th spot in this one. Rob Smith never got going in this race, so it's not a retirement for him. John Goudet 15th after an earlier off in the race. Stordog, I did see what happened to him to put him down the order by the margin. Will come home for 16th. And Dan Davis, well, championship probably over in his eyes now, down in 17th place, waiting for him to finish.
Yeah, and that's another disappointing round for the multiple champion, but and the championship slips further away for him. But on the other hand, for Ben Rook, he claws back valuable points on O'Reilly. I don't know how many, but he certainly claws a load back. So game on.
So Ben scored 61, O'Reilly 41. So a good 20-point swing there.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, that's what we want. We want a championship decider next week, don't we?
Oh, indeed we do. As Dan Davis now is going to come to the line to complete the race here at Valencia for the sprint race. Dan Davis down in P17. Work to do in the second race. Not sure what happened to him, but an incident nonetheless, whether it involved himself or Mike Matthews. That was the only other car around him. But Dan down in 17th. Rozelski, first time race winner at SimPlay Motorsport, crossed the line P1. He looks pretty good in the sprint. What can he do in the feature? Make sure you don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a few moments' time. Welcome back then, ladies and gentlemen, to SimPlay Motorsport. Here for the first qualifying session, and the only qualifying session, I suppose, of the evening. The penultimate qualifying session, if you will, because there's only one more left after this. Jamal Clouden, first man out on track. Michael Harris has to serve a qualifying ban. That is why he is in the pit lane. Pretty interesting race one, Kelly. Obviously, we're not sure what happened to Dan Davis in that one. Rosowski looked pretty comfortable. And obviously the contact, I suppose the big point, the contact between Dan and O'Reilly that's allowed Ben to gain 20 points.
Yes, absolutely. And as I said, I was on board with that one, so it's hard to be subjective about who was at fault on that one. But it did look a little bit 50-50 to me. I'm sure if there's a ticket goes in that the stewards will look at that a bit closer. But still... O'Reilly was the net winner over Dan, but not over Ben. Ben being the net winner overall. He claws back 20 or so points to Kieran O'Reilly in this championship. But it's got to be said, Matt, there's still a long way to go if Ben's going to put his hand on that trophy.
Well, the gap's 56 points, so 200 to play for. Obviously, there's a point up for grabs in this, so a lot still to look at, a lot still to play for, but... Still, 56 when you're fighting a man like O'Reilly is a tough task. You kind of want to be, at least a good 30-odd points closer come the end of today. So Ben could do with another race like he's just had with the points gap at the moment. Qualifying's just started their second flying laps of this session. And it is currently Ben Rook on that provisional pole at this moment in time. So currently going well is Ben Rook. Provisional pole. O'Reilly's only just pipped one into P4 there, so he's down the order just a little bit, not the outright pace. Not everybody's set a lap time yet either at the moment. Just trying to find where Matt Wright is as he's just coming to the line. That's the wrong driver. So we'll stand on Steve Millington instead. Then we've got Rob Rams was about to come and do a lap time. So we'll see where these lap times feed in. But really much an interesting talking point, wasn't it? And I suppose the talking point about that contact was, did O'Reilly tap Dan going for a gap? Did Dan turn in on Kieran O'Reilly? We couldn't see clear from our view what happened.
No, as I said, it was very difficult. And Chris Rook in the chat saying that Ben said that Dan crashed all on his own. So Dan had a moment that we didn't see. Rob Smith saying O'Reilly and Dan agreed racing instant in Discord. And do you know what? On board with O'Reilly, that's kind of the way I called it, wasn't it? Kind of 50-50. O'Reilly was a little bit keen up the inside and Dan was a little bit keen to turn into the corner, I think if they both, in hindsight, they would have both just given each other a bit more room and been better up the order. But hey, hindsight's a wonderful thing, isn't it?
It is indeed. Jamal Clouden's on an invalidated lap. Will Mike Matthews be able to improve at the time being? No, he will not. Dan Davis yet set a lap time, goes up into P2. Can Ben extend his lap time at the moment at the top of the order? No, stays within 28 thousandths of a second. De Bont now goes and takes provisional pole away from him. Hibbs is coming towards the line as O'Reilly now goes provisional pole and takes that by a tenth of a second. Cordno's not got a lap time on the board. Can he get one now? Yes, he does. Puts him up the order just a little bit. McGowan's down in 15th. He shoots up into P8. What about Matt Wright? He moves up into 9th. And then it's the Ferraris of Millington and Ramsell towards the line. But O'Reilly now setting that pole position. That's an extra point in his favour at the moment. And crucially, a call between himself and Ben going into that second race.
Yep, still a little way to go, to be fair. And those times starting to tumble a little bit like a fruit machine now. But yes, we've still got just under half of the session to go, so still plenty of time for that to improve. But O'Reilly with the in the box seats at the moment.
Evening to Andrew in the chat, watching the stream. Andrew Aberdeen.
Bungle.
Good afternoon to you. He posted a lovely image in the ringside chat earlier about Zippy, and I won't repeat what was said on the image, but it was quite funny. It tickled me.
Oh yeah. Nice to be. Was he being horrible?
Wasn't being horrible, no, he didn't say anything horrible, just the wording on the picture was just quite funny.
Oh, okay. I don't do the ringside thing.
Yeah, no, best not to.
Might upset people more than they want to be.
Well, Mike Matthews has just shot himself up into P3 ahead of, both Lamborghinis for a moment, because Ben now goes second place, really close to the back of O'Reilly, 21 thousandths of a second. But here comes O'Reilly to the line. Does he improve? No, he does not. Hibbs looks like he's pulled to the offline a little bit there, not sure why. No improvement for Hibbs this time around. Cordno's coming to the line as well. Berserker saying one more time. They're more one more time there, more than 10 under 1 second. It's fantastic at the moment.
Yeah, more like it, yeah.
Millington, can he get under that 2 second mark? Yes, he can. Finds himself a couple of temps. Cloudon's leaving the pits. He's going to have to be cautious of Ramsell and Class coming through on flying laps as Ramsell moves up to 13th. Class still in P11 at the moment. Rob Smith in the Mustang coming down towards the line. So Rosowski's dropped to 7th, but he did pit after his first flying lap to come back out there. So he's on. Now he's second of his first flying laps, if you will. So we'll see what Rosowski does do. But Dan down in 6th at the minute, being out-qualified by both Matt Wright and Mike Matthews. Interesting to see so far.
Yes, indeed. And he's just in front of his teammate at the moment. Surely they're not thinking about doing a tow, are they? They're just randomly on there.
I wonder if this is... Well, Dan's on an invalid lap, so I don't think Ben is close enough. As we jump onto Mike, you'll see Dan come out the corner in a moment. I don't think Ben's close enough to Dan for a slipstream to benefit him here. They're not exactly, really close. No. Ben might get a little bit of slipstream, but nothing that's going to really, gain him a lot of time. I also said in a chat with Kieran Argent last night, as De Bont goes and improves, so it's put 36 thousandths between the top three. What can O'Reilly do to the line now? No improvement. I also think that drivers may have been better off sacrificing 2 sets of tyres in qualifying, because I don't think you're going to improve much towards the end of this qualifying session.
You might be right, and it's going to be interesting, as we said, that tyres may be an issue. We didn't talk about it that much in the sprint, because in the sprint it's not. But this feature race coming up, we might find that most of the field might take tyres tonight. It's going to have a different spin on it than every week we talk about tyres and nothing really comes of it. I know. No, I'm not going to try and give away too much, because if I say too much, I don't want to give away anybody's strategy tonight.
No worries, Andy. We'll hope you enjoy the stream when you watch it back a little bit later on. But track temps up at 37 degrees. I'm not seeing many improvements here. And drivers, some of them are only going to get one last flying lap on the board here. Rosowski's not going to improve because he's invalidated, so he's going to get one more run in to try and find half a second. But 9/10 separating the top 10. Very close times. And Class and Ramsell only just outside the second mark. Ramsell, Stardog, Goudet and Harris in the pits. As we know, Harris had a quali ban. They are done. They will not get another lap time on the board. Here comes Mike Matthews. Any improvement now? Not this time around. What about Dan Davis? Does he improve? He doesn't find anything. Nor does Ben. I think that lap times are done here. I think unless you've made a little mistake somewhere, I think the tyres have just got too warm. It's such a warm day. Hibbs has called it a day. O'Reilly doesn't, though. He finds literally 0.03 of a second to take that pole position. So he's barely found any time there. Manages to sneak pole. Cardno moves up into top 10. What can McGowan do? We're not seeing many of the front runners improve on their times. Matt Wright to the line. No improvement. What about Millington? Needs a tenth to get himself ahead of Goudet and Stardog. Can he find a 10th? No, he can't. He will get one more run in, as will Jamal Clouden down in 8th. Just gets another run in. Class will be the first of the finishes here in qualifying. No improvement. I think the tyres are done, Kelly.
I think you're right, Matt. I really do, which is great, isn't it? I mean, it's good, but it's not. Clouden might get a chance at it, because he put a... he was in the pits, was he? Did he put a fresh set on? Let's hope so. If he can hook it all up, he might have a chance at going up the order. I'm on board with Ben at the moment. I don't feel that... It's been a little bit of a scruffy lap, so I don't feel that he's going to improve on this one.
Well, Rosowski's found an improvement. He also pitted and put a fresher set on. He's gone up to 4th place. Found himself 0.3 of a second to go 4th place. By 0.3, just under 0.3, he is off the pole position. Here comes Mike Matthews, not on an improved lap time. He pulls to the inside. Mike's last win was at Valencia. Ben's returned to the pit lane. Dan now moves up to 4th place. Knew there was more time in it for Dan. He was strange that he was behind Wright and Matthews. He's normally a better qualifier than that. De Bont doesn't improve an inch. What about O'Reilly? It was very small for O'Reilly last time around. Stays exactly the same. I think the tyres was cooked in that qualifying session, and this could prove our point of maybe tyres might be the way to go in the race session, but we'll just see on strategy. Clouden binned it, and McGowan crosses the line. He stays P9, top 9 by half a second.
Yeah, and you say that, though, the gap from 3rd to 4th, the two Audio Sport drivers, is 0.2 in itself.
Yes, you've got under a tenth between the top 3. 0.2 from 3rd to 4th. You've then got a tenth from 4th to 6th, just over a tenth from 4th to 7th, if you will. A further tenth and a half back to Jamal from 7th to 8th. And then you've got 8th and 9th within hundredths, and 4 tenths then back to 9th and 10th and 11th. Crazy qualifying, really, really close lap times. But I think the thing to note in that qualifying session there, Kelly, was, 1, O'Reilly gets an extra point and pulls 1 more point clear of Ben, and 2, them tyres didn't seem to go 10 minutes, but without obviously having a bit of a drop-off in performance.
So, let's put that into transfer that information forward to the race. How many are we going to see take tyres this week? Going to have to take tyres, and are they thinking about that? And are we going to have like a mass pit stop at like 50-50 point tonight?
Well, I think this is going to be the interesting thing to look at, isn't it? You know, I'd be amazed if anybody goes the distance on one set of tyres. It's 39-degree track temp. 1 o'clock in the afternoon. The race is going to the race will start about 6 minutes past because of this time now and then the formation lap and such. Race will finish about 2:15 in the afternoon ish. Right? Don't hold me to that one, but it's around that time. So track temp could easily go up another 1, if not maybe 2 degrees into the 40s.
It sure could, and there seems to be quite an abrasive circuit anyway. So with
bike
all those
track,
factors,
isn't it? You know, it's not really made for the cars, so that's just going to damage the tyres more. The curbs are quite abrasive. That's going to hurt the tyres more because you run a lot of the curbs.
Yeah, absolutely. Rob Smith saying, I could have made one set last yesterday. Talk is after 50 minutes, the tyres are down to 1.6 for certain drivers, 1.6 millimetres, of course, for certain drivers. So 1.6 millimetres and still 20,000 miles on them. Christ, I mean, that's just, I do the rest of the season on 1.6 millimetres. We're away and they are under their formation lap now. So if you're new to SimPlay, this is a 70-minute race, mandatory pit stop. You can change tyres or not change the tyres. You must take at least 1 litre of fuel. Strategy is going to be important tonight, probably one of the most important this season because, as I said, we've just been rabbiting on about the tyres are actually going off like we wanted them to all year, all season.
I don't know if they're going off, but they definitely had a drop in performance. You didn't see, normally we sat in a qualifying session at the end seeing who's improved on their best times. We was nowhere near seeing that. O'Reilly's pole position, he gained 300ths of a second. Now, all right, De Bont, it may have been a superior lap from O'Reilly and De Bont to put it where it was, and Ben Rook, but 300ths, we've normally seen pole to second at times on the final run of qualifying be a tenth or 2. I think tyres are the performance is going in them. That's for sure. Whether the grip levels are, the performance isn't there.
Well, this is the thing then. Is it a case of are some of these drivers now thinking, if I nurse these tyres, can I get them to the end? And what sort of compromises do I have to make to do that?
Yeah. And
could
what do you could an early pit stop work so that you can come out in clear air and kind of not trundle, but you know what I mean, go at a slower pace, clean air,
steady pace,
and not racking quick laps. But also, if you're in the train, do you just kind of sit in the train, not look to force moves and maybe scrub your tyres a bit more, but just sit in a comfortable pace, comfortable rhythm? Tough one, Kelly. What would you do tonight?
Absolutely. Sorry?
What would you do if you was out there?
Oh, 1 set of tyres, you know me.
Yeah.
I would. I'm never the quickest person on track. I mean, that's never very, never happened. So I've got good tyre wear. I would be taking that chat. I'd certainly be going long and trying to make it on 1 set.
Race winner for this one?
Hard to look past O'Reilly.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? So a double O'Reilly. Berserker says he's going to gamble on De Bont in race 1. De Bont had decent pace, but just kind of dropped off Rosowski, didn't he, in that first race? But round 25, 2 to go after this. But it's all about this one. Crunch time for Ben and O'Reilly. It's green and go here, and De Bont again looks like he's got a bit of a slow getaway. Dan's now hassling the back of him, pulls to the outside line. De Bont seems to get a better second phase as he's side by side with Ben, who goes up the inside. De Bont nearly in an audio sports sandwich. Ben slams that inside line on De Bont coming in towards turn number 2. Nose is still alongside. De Bont's got to be aware of this. Nearly chops the nose of Ben off, just leaves him enough room, and De Bont then still then ahead will have the inside line for the next corner. Ben backs out of it. Dan and Rosowski going side by side. Rosowski right around the outside of Dan at the moment. Not going to work there, but he's still there, you know, still keeping his M4 alongside Dan, and Dan can't run as far out wide as he wants to. Now gets the move done. Rosowski comes back at him under braking. BMW giving Dan Davis a hard time here, and Rosowski gets through on Dan Davis.
He does, and that was over about 4 corners. Good driving, good respect from both of those. I thought it was going to go wrong very, very quickly. Mike Matthews coming into it right now. Gets dangerously close to Rosowski and to Dan, and tries to have a look up the inside. Oh, that was close.
And Dan nearly
well.
chopping the nose off of Mike Matthews there a little bit. So Mike would have been in trouble for that one. I think Dan would have been in trouble for the other. Them two going at it hard on the circuit. But O'Reilly leads now from that of De Bont, with Ben Rook sat in third. Rosowski's P4 from Dan Davis, Mike Matthews, Matt Wright, Jamal Cloud, Ian McGowan, Class from Cordno, Ramsell, Hibbs going at it once again, then Smith, Millington, Stardog, Goudet, and then Harris at the back. Slow start for Harris, and Goudet doesn't look like he's got away well either. He's off the train at the moment, but all the way well at the front. Dan was in the thick of the action on that opening lap.
Absolutely, and yeah, absolutely that. He was in the thick of it, but all clean at the top. We don't know what happened to John and Harris. Maybe they had a coming together or whatever, but they've dropped off the pace quite severely. Other than that, we haven't seen any all clean driving for the first lap, apart from what may have happened there.
Yeah, all clean apart from what may have happened there. Dan and Rosowski, though, great respect shown from them two. And then Mike nearly into the back of Dan, and Dan nearly chopping the nose off of Mike. It was... them two's won 3 constructors between them, so it was nearly handbags between the former teammates a lap or 2 ago. But that's the running order at the moment. Ramsell's got on the back of Cordno, taking Hibbs with him. All pretty much follow the leader at the moment, Kelly. We're all within about half a second of the car in front without anybody making a move.
Yeah, that I was thinking. They've all settled into a train particularly quickly, and I wonder what their thinking is. You love to be in the head of some of these drivers, trying to work out how they're going to do it. In the chat, Chris saying tyres cost money, got to make them last, Kelly. Damn right. I want to get the best out of them. Absolutely. Tyres are hugely expensive. So
they are indeed. I have just forwarded you an image, but we're not going to say anything on that one.
All right.
That is the strategies that drivers are going to. Me and Kelly, no, we're not going to give anything away to, just in case other teams or personnel are listening at this moment. But there is definitely a bit of a mixture going on that grid.
I know not to tell anyone because you've put shush afterwards. So yeah, thanks for that, Matt.
Just giving you a quick heads up here.
Shush.
This one, De Bont's just done the fastest lap of the race. He's on the back of O'Reilly at the moment. I think it's Francois De Bont on the back of O'Reilly. So definitely, though, Kelly, look at that image. There is a few different strategies out there.
I've got to take my eyes away from the screen, which is very difficult at times.
Well, De Bont's on the back of O'Reilly at the moment, and coming through into the middle sector. Dan's not really gaining on the back of Rosowski, but this could be Dan's tactic, is you just have a bit of clear air out of the dirty air of Rosowski. Definitely a lot of different strategies there, Kelly.
Oh, yes.
Dan's not really... sticking to the back of Rosowski at the minute. In fact, he's got Mike Matthews hassling the back of his Lamborghini at the moment, and Mike actually looks up the inside of Dan without really troubling him, although Kelly's camera angle may have thought different there.
I had phantom brake pedal there. I think I might just bend my sim rig by phantom braking from Mike.
De Bont's had a wiggle in the foreground, and this is going to allow Ben Rook a run round the outside of the kink, and it does indeed. Could Rosowski even maybe have a look? No, he can't, too far back, but Ben Rook now into second. De Bont's had a moment on his own.
The 2 championship antagonists now out front. Ben's got to hunt him down. Points means prizes, Ben. And Rosowski is now having a look at De Bont. He's got the run in the slipstream. Can he make it stick into turn one. Oh, they rub doors. Rosowski goes very, very wide. Is there a track limits there?
I think it is. I think it is off the AstroTurf. I think you get a track limits warning. Rosowski deep, and Dan late on the brakes, nearly into the back of Rosowski there. Tonight was Dan Davis, who's just under pressure a little bit from Mike Matthews and Matt Wright, and even Jamal Clouden. And Ian McGowan, actually, a bit of a train forming behind Dan. Dan's been caught onto the back of Rosowski because of Rosowski going wide there. But yeah, Chris is saying that Ben was struggling with the dirty air. Yeah. And that would have been behind De Bont. Well, he's got a second to O'Reilly. The question is now, does Ben hunt to O'Reilly down, or does he go and stick in that bit of clean air at the moment? This is going to be the question so far. This is on with Dan Davis. Not close enough to De Bont, just losing out a little bit on this lap. And I tell you what, Mike is stuck to Dan like a bit of glue at the moment. It is literally being towed along by Dan Davis. Has another sniff up the inside, does Mike Matthews.
I had to come off the view from Mike. I can't stand the pressure anymore of his late braking. And I mean, don't get me wrong, Mike's a cracking driver, and I'm sure he won't run into the back of Dan on purpose. But I just couldn't take the pressure anymore. So now, what was that?
Mike nearly sent it on Dan and nearly at the rear of him as they come through the final corner. Mike is getting very close under braking. Yeah, this could be a bit of a moment for Mike Matthews if he carries on at this rate at the moment. But interesting to see. I think this is a bit of a tactic from Dan to try and not run in Rosowski's dirty air, but he may think, right, I need to hurry up before this guy behind me hits me.
I'd be thinking that. I'd be doing an awful lot of looking in the mirrors. Yeah, I hate it when someone's that late on the brakes behind me. Distracts me terribly. Don't any of you Pro-Am drivers remember that, what I've just said there.
There will be handbags in the party chat, no doubt, if Mike hits Dan in this one. But either way, it's going to be an interesting one to see. Ben's caught O'Reilly a little bit. Ben's done fastest lap of the race. The problem is De Bont on this lap has closed up to the back of Ben towards half a second now. So interesting way to go. And Kelly, you know, they're not F1 cars. Obviously, these are GT cars, but the dirty air is still going to hurt them tyres a little bit.
Yeah, again, those of you who sit at home and don't, you know, just tune in for the action and don't actually play the game. And I've had this discussion with some of our people who do watch. Everything matters in this game. And, you know, all the fine details within this game really matter. So, yes, dirty air, it's just...
Clouden's off. Sorry, Kelly. Clouden's been off at the kink again, and he's lost out to McGowan and to Class. Cardno's too far behind. Flash of the lights, though, from McGowan. Not sure why, but he's dropped down a couple of places. Sorry, Kelly. Carry on.
Yeah, I was just saying that they reckon this is as close to driving a GT3 car as you can get on a console. And everything matters, Matt, doesn't it? Yeah. Dirty air matters, tyre wear matters, conditions, you know, cloud cover, track temperature. It all makes, let alone setup, it all makes a difference. So, yes, you're in this train of dirty air, and it can make a difference for anyone. And I think we're going to see a lot of this close company train type trains developing up and down the grid.
Monkey's noted your comment about don't get that close to you for next week. I'm sure he'll pass the message on to Kieran Argent, no doubt. Used to have an history, so I'm sure that'll get passed on to Kieran Argent.
Don't tell Kieran, he's already good at late breaking up behind me as it is.
Bathurst. Should we go about Bathurst?
No, let's not talk about Bathurst.
Matt Wright on the back of his teammate at the moment. We've got Class on the back of Cloud now. So Cloud's got back ahead of Class. Cardno's having a scramble with Rob Ramsell there. They're having a good fight.
Although I still won that one.
You did still win that race, yeah. Hibbs is having a fight with Rob Smith, and Goulet's under pressure from Michael Harris at the back of the pack. But Rook now under a second to O'Reilly. De Bont sat on the back of Rook, and now Rosowski's got fastest lap. Pass the parcel on that point, innit?
It is, yeah, absolutely. We'll see where it sticks at the end of the race. So again, it's just there's no big overtaking opportunities, is there? That's the problem, and.
The thing around here I noticed last night and in the Genetics, you've got to have the run on a car and really be alongside enough going into the corner. It's no good just having a nose there. A nose sometimes isn't enough to get the job done out the corner. You've really got to be alongside.
Yeah, and I mean, all these guys now are waiting for mistakes to happen with the cars in front of them, and you know, none of them have opted for an early strategy. I mean, we were talking about that earlier, but that might well have been madness, to be fair, because I think a lot of them will want to see how far their tyres will go.
Yeah.
And you know, others have locked themselves into a strategy, as we know that. Yeah, no one's gone for that early stop, so that's a strategy that nobody thinks is crazy enough to try. So they're sat in this train waiting for mistakes to happen. As de Bont has got very close to the back of Ben Rook now, hasn't he?
Well, I don't know about a 24-hour Bathurst, Chris, but there are talks of a 12-hour Bathurst to match real life.
Ben's gone deep. Ben's gone deep, mate. Sorry.
Go on.
Ben's gone deep, and de Bont's got him before they even got to the chicane. So a mistake from Ben there just cost him a position.
Well, if we look, Kelly, 10 minutes in, that's the qualifying session. So we're into that window where the performance started to drop off, definitely. But yeah, we're on about at least a 12-hour Bathurst potentially coming next year to match the real world 12-hour Bathurst. In fact, we may have to look at doing that around the same time in February. That would be worth a few views, I imagine. But look at the train. They're all still pretty close together. You know, there's Stardog just coming out the final corner. Harris and Goudet, who had a bit of a nightmare lap one, not sure why. Everybody was in the same straight, in the same picture. So they're really close, you know. Yeah,
absolutely. So, I mean, other front runners, I mean, where's the biggest gap? Probably Clouden and Clay, somewhere around there. And again, it's not a lot, is it?
It's Clay to Ramsell, 1.7 seconds. Oh, in fact, no, it's Millington to Smith, 2.1. If you're not talking in terms of Goudet and Harris, who had a terrible lap one. So, yeah, it's Harris has actually passed John Goudet. Just saw the end of that one. It's interesting because if you look at the top 8, they're all within a second of each other.
So where are we with this? Do we think that O'Reilly is pacing himself? De Bont,
well, he can control the pace, can't he? So he can look after his tyres better than everybody. One, he's not got dirty air, and two, he controls the pace. He's not really under any pressure from de Bont. He wasn't under any pressure when de Bont was last in second, and he wasn't under any pressure from Ben. De Bont's now got fastest lap back, by the way, so that's moved once again. So at the minute, O'Reilly's sitting in the best place. While they're all within a second, they're getting some form of dirty air within that second and a half window. You're getting some form of dirty air, which is going to be hurting your tyres a little more. You're going to just be scrubbing them a little bit through the corners. So O'Reilly's in the box seat, isn't he?
Yeah. Are these top 7 or 8, even 9 maybe, or even 10, just controlling their pace, being controlled a little bit by Kieran Riley, and the rest of them are happy enough to just let that pace be controlled because they're wanting to get these tyres to the end, and the rest of the field is staying staying with them on pace.
Yeah, I'd agree with that comment. Yeah, I'd agree with that comment because nobody's really, they're all close together, but no one's really having a go, are they? We've kind of got the top 8 within a train of each other. Ben's got a little gap now to de Bont. That's just gone over a second. I say that's because de Bont's actually closed in on O'Reilly. But so Ben's got a bit of free air, but he's still going to feel a bit of an effect of dirty air, whereas the others are all within a second, if not half a second, to the car in front. Mike's been up the rear of Dan for quite a while. Dan's been up the rear of Rosowski for a little bit as well.
Yeah.
So, Matt Wright on Mike, McGowan on Matt Wright. So, it's just all having a bit of a knock-on effect. And we're 15 minutes into this race. I'm not saying that tyres are going off now, by the way. That's not what I'm saying. But I definitely think O'Reilly especially, he is controlling this pace. I think de Bont is for sure. He's had a moment. He's gone off.
Yep.
He's re-overtaken Ben. He's now on the back of O'Reilly. I for sure think that de Bont is getting through these tyres a lot more than Kieran O'Reilly is, and now more than Ben.
Yes. So, at the moment, it's a game of strategy. Who can make the tyres last? Whoa, as Mike had a bit of a moment there. I think he got out of the brakes just to avoid the back of Dan. I'm on board with Matt Wright, and Mike just jinked. Yeah, just jinked over to the right in the braking zone. It looked like he was avoiding the back of Dan's car. So, and this is what, as Matt Wright has a look up the side of Mike Matthews now, going to try and go round the outside. I think that's ambitious.
Whoa! There was a slide from Matt Wright out of the exit to the corner. Jamal's now in this queue as well, by the way. In fact, McGowan's let Jamal go, so not sure what was wrong with McGowan there. He looked a little slow out the corner, so not sure if he had a bit of a moment, but he's let Jamal go up into P number 8.
Maybe.
So is he thinking, look after my tyres and, let Jamal attack the back of these guys?
Yeah, maybe exactly that. I was going to say Jamal is another one who likes to be very much in your mirror. Me and Jamal had a bit of an incident exactly here, actually, in GT5s. GT4s.
You always got to mention GT5, haven't you?
I'll behave. You know that was a slip of the tongue, and not any reference to you and Dan and that incident. If you want to see it back, it's all in the archives of SimPlay.
Oh, there's a car off. Sorry, Kelly. 741. That's Stardog in the wall. That's through the little chicane.
Sorry, mate. All of a sudden, there's action going all over the place as Matt Wright is having a look at Mike Matthews. Dan having a look on Rosowski. They all kind of jigged over the track.
He's got the up and under. Dan's got the up and under on Rosowski. Here we go. Mike Matthews following him through. Can't do anything there at the moment. Dan's still got that inside line. The problem is Dan will have the inside for this little kink left-hander. Rosowski will have the inside, though, for the next 2 corners. This could open the door for Mike Matthews. Mike thinks better of it. Does he follow Rosowski through? Tries to. Little wiggle on exit. Mike gets close once again. I think that's more camera angles than Mike being close. I think he's obviously knows what he's doing. You're sat on board. Dan now goes up the inside of Rosowski. Late move from Dan. Good move from Dan. And now Dan's alongside. Did he get the better exit, though? Dan's going to have the inside line for the next part. Kink here. Then he's got the inside line for turn 8. This could allow Mike an opportunity up the inside as well. Rosowski's going to try around the outside. I tell you what, he is keeping that BM really feisty today, isn't he? Dan's now through. Rosowski may fancy a move, though. Not close enough, and Dan gets through. Now Mike has a look at the inside of Rosowski as well. So 1 and 2. Could it even be more? As Mike's got the inside line coming into the chicane, if you will. The little right left-hander. Mike's still there. Plenty of room given. Good racing from Rosowski once again. And look at the train behind Mike. Matt Wright and Jamal Clouden having a bit of an action here. Jamal looking up the inside on Matt Wright into the final corner. And a thank you, mama, for the carrots. He goes there. Jamal Clouden gets through.
Oh, nothing happens for like 20 minutes, and all of a sudden it happens in 1 lap. That from Dan and Rosowski, great driving, but my God, that took half a track to get it done. Swapping from one corner to the other, brilliant racing. And Dan has now got himself, the top 3 have now had an opportunity to go forward, although De Bont is really close to the back of O'Reilly now. He was within a tenth of him just a moment ago, and he's looking very racy. All of a sudden, this race has come alive, Matt.
It really has. McGowan also had a look at the back of Matt Wright down into the turn 1 section of the track. And I said thank you, Mama, for the carrots for Jamal. I was meant to say something else, but I forgot about it until just now. Mike all over the back, hassling the back of Rosowski at the moment. Ben's got clear air now. He's 2 seconds back. He's not going to be feeling dirty air. Dan's not going to be getting dirty air from Ben either at the moment. So these two can now try and look after their tyres a little bit more. Rosowski's deep, though. This could invite Mike Matthews up the inside. Problem is, Rosowski's going to have the inside after this little left-hander. Rosowski's still there. Up the inside. Bounces off the curb. Hits Mike. And Jamal Clouden's going to pick up not 1, but maybe even 2 places. They're now side by side. Backs out of it. Mike Matthews also tumbles down behind that of Ian McGowan. They're still side by side. And Mike now yields out of that one. And Jamal Clouden and Matt Wright and McGowan up a place each. Here comes Clouden, though, looking to the inside on Rosowski into the final corner. Gets it done once again. Question is, what kind of exit does he get? A lovely one from Jamal Clouden, and that is another move for him. O'Reilly side by side with De Bont at the front. Drama wherever you look at the moment in this race. De Bont to the outside, tucks underneath. Can he get the up and under on O'Reilly? Tries to do so. O'Reilly comes across to defend, and De Bont has to take to the outside line. Kelly, all of a sudden this life has spurred into action.
Yeah, absolutely. And Rosowski hasn't given up on Clouden yet. They both went very wide in turn 1. This race, all of a sudden, as you said, has come absolutely alive. Poor old Mike Matthews lost himself about 4 places there by going on the outside of Rosowski. Rosowski now side by side with Matt Wright at the moment. It's all action wherever you look now. And Rosowski, I mean, he's driving really well, but he's tumbling down the order a little bit.
Tyres?
I'm beginning to wonder. Yeah, I was just going to say that. Matt Wright very deep out of that corner. That's going to give Rosowski a sniff up the inside. He's got his kind of nose there a little bit. Matt is aware of him, and they go into the braking zone, and Matt comes across, and Mike Mathew getting back involved in this, getting re-engaged in this battle, and all very close stuff, and some great driving from these pro drivers tonight.
Chris telling me to breathe in the chat, so I've just let Kelly do that last bit because I was losing my breath a little bit there. Yeah. But Jamal Cloud now sat in a good place where he can look after his tyres a little bit more. It has given Ben a bit of a chance to catch up after a slide. Ben does not want slides, but Ben is ahead of De Bont at the moment, and he's on the back of O'Reilly. So what has happened here? De Bont bails to the pit lane. That is an early stop for De Bont at the moment. No, second pit stop. Stardog's just done. Yeah. He must have had damage to the car. De Bont into the pits. That's an early stop. So we'll see what length this is going to be. But Ben back on O'Reilly. And what a race this is turning out to be. It was kind of follow the leader for 20 minutes, and all of a sudden they've gone, now boring now, let's get on with it.
Absolutely, and Ben looking, I mean, he just dropped off this second, but he caught up onto the back of O'Reilly.
Rosowski's also in, Kelly.
Yeah, okay, another one. Where are we? 49 minutes, 20 minutes in, so that's right. Third distance.
Sorry, De Bont's not taking tyres. He's not long stopped in his box. That was splash and dash for De Bont there. Right. He has not taken tyres. See how that pans out at the end of this race. Neither has Rosowski. That was a very quick stop for the pair of them. This is obviously to possibly get out the dirty air and get their tyres cooled down a little bit. But my days was it drama at the top of the order. So Dan's kind of just in a window of Ben's dirty air a little bit. Second and a half, I reckon he'll just be feeling an effect. Very minute though at the moment. Clouden not in any, Matt Wright not in any, Mike a little bit, and then it's McGowan, Class, Ramsell, Cordno, Hibbs. They're all within this company. Smith will be in dirty air of the Ford Mustang, a Stardog just in front. Millington clear air, Goudet clear air. He's got back ahead of Harris. These two are having a real good tussle at the back. We'll have to keep our eyes on this a little more because they're exchanging places. Whew, geez, that was an interesting fight.
Absolutely, some great action there from a lot of the guys, and I think he's going to have to be try and keep an eye on De Bont's times a little bit now and see what he does in clear air, and if he can make this strategy work, and if he can make the tyres work as well, mind you know. So we had some great action there, but still a lot of strategy to play out in this race.
Ben now right under the rear wing of Kieran O'Reilly. Just going to drop down to Goudet and Harris. Have a look there. Goudet's a little bit in front, quite comfortably at the moment. Harris not close enough to look in turn one. O'Reilly's definitely setting this pace though, Kelly. I'm certain of that. Oh, as he has a big slide out the corner. That would and these slides on normal circuits won't hurt the tyres too much. Here at 40-degree track temp, that's going to really kill him.
Yeah, the back end of that Honda looking a little bit loose now, and I was going to say that Ben seems to be stronger in Sector 1. I'm staying on board with Ben for a while. The back end of that Honda is starting to look loose.
Do you want an interesting fact at the minute?
Oh, yes, please.
O'Reilly is only the, where's he gone? 10th fastest man on the circuit at the moment.
There you go. There you go. And yeah, he's
Dan's only
controlling the
9th
pace.
fastest, so that shows you know what they're trying to do here. Dan's 9th fastest.
De Bont's got the fastest lap. Is he lap time? Is he? What information have you got in front of you there? Is that
so? His fastest lap time's 31.7, best lap.
Yeah.
You know, O'Reilly's only actually 4 tenths off that in 10th place, so that shows how close that is. It's a second between the top 14, top 15, 16, 17. Actually, it's 1 second between all the grid bar one, and then John's only 1.3 off of that. So it's pretty close between them all in terms of best lap times at the moment, but shows the pace when O'Reilly's only 10th fastest, Dan's only 9th fastest, Ben's 6th fastest at the moment. Ben right with O'Reilly.
That's Sector 1 again. The 2 long straights there is where the McLaren certainly got the legs on the Honda there, and
McLaren.
But McLaren. No, Lamborghini. Lamborghini. We got loads of them, haven't we? Yeah. So only the privileged in team audio sport have got McLarens.
How many McLarens did you buy this season compared to Lamborghinis?
30 Lamborghinis and 2 McLarens. Whoever's got the other one.
Well, I tell you what now, look, Dan's within that dirty area of Ben Ruck massively because he's now within 8 tenths of a second. This is interesting. Chris is shouting, go Ben. I think it's too early for a go Ben. Because I think this is Masterclass. No, I do. I think this is masterclass from O'Reilly.
Just the way you said it. Sorry, it's just the way you said it. It sounded like it's too early for a go Ben, like you were going to go and get a McDonald's or something. Do you know what I mean? It was just the way you said it. But yes, I think we've got a long way to go here. A long way to go.
I think this is all going to be. This is a bit like Le Mans. You watch it for 23 hours and 55 minutes, and it's all about that last 5 minutes as to who does what, especially if they're going to be this close come the last 5 minutes of racing. Ben, right on the rear of O'Reilly now then. Track limits are going to be a key to keep our eyes on as well in this race. We're nearly 3 for the lead. McGowan's dropped off the back of Mike. We've got Ramsell having a look up the inside of Cardno for 8th and 9th with Hibbs and Class. And no, that's a lap car of Starlog on the back of that train. We then got Harris dropping off the back of Goudet. What were you in at?
Just O'Reilly out of turn 1, very loose but very deep, very loose. Again, the back end of that Honda just wagging it around like a little excited puppy at the moment. I think Ben gets half a sniff at this. He's going to be right in there. But O'Reilly doing a champion's job of holding on to this lead.
Oh, isn't he? Isn't he just? It's been fantastic to see at the moment. Right, when my data updates, I'll be able to give you some lap times for the last lap. Just waiting for it to update De Bont's last lap time on my timing screens at the moment. We know that De Bont and Rosowski took 1 litre of fuel, or at least minimum fuel as possible, in the pit stops. He was in and out like a flash. De Bont 132.7, O'Reilly a 132.5, Ben a 32.6, Dan a 32.4, Clouden a 32.1. And hello, what would you look at the background there? Jamal Clouden's on the back of his old adversary Dan Davis.
Yeah. I hadn't noticed that he had done that. I've been sat on with Dan watching the fight in front. I just dropped back, and Clouden has joined the party for this top 4 at the moment. Silently going forward is Jamal tonight, isn't he?
Yes, quietly in this second race, isn't he? So having a good one at the moment. But yeah, so far so good if you're Jamal Clouden. Going to be an interesting one. This is towards the very, very end, Kelly. I think we're in for a treat. Ben had a look on O'Reilly there going into turn 1.
Yeah, he had a look, wasn't close enough. As you said, you nearly need to be alongside almost when you come into turn 1 to get enough of the run into turn 2. Although the McLaren Lamborghini is quicker in a straight line, it hasn't got enough overlap to spank the Honda in the straight.
Honda's pretty good on the straight. But
it's all right, yeah.
Look, 1, 2, 3, 4. Jamal Clouden will be fancying a few moves here in this race. This is pretty good from Jamal Clouden. He's come from way back. Let's not forget he was behind. He had a moment earlier on. He was behind Class and McGowan and Wright and Rosowski and Mike Matthews. He's now on the back of his old adversary, as we said, Dan Davis. Dan goes to the inside to defend. Jamal then tucks underneath through the little kink, breaks a little earlier than Dan. So this will hurt Dan's tyres even more because he's going to affect Dan by defending.
Yeah. Jamal, in the past, has needed to use just a little bit more patience, and that's just what I'm willing him on here. Let's not have a dive on Dan. Let's have a calculated, strong move, Jamal. Not a flight up the inside.
Well, De Bont's got past John Goudet. Last time round, a 32.8 from De Bont. In the 33s was the leaders, bar Jamal Clouden, who was 0.8 of a second quicker than Dan last time round. So Jamal flying at the moment.
Mate. Yes, absolutely, but Ben is so close, was right on the back of O'Reilly through the last corner. Is he going to have a look? Going to go and try and go around the outside? Is he going to go try and undercut him into the corner? Yes, he is, trying to get up the inside.
Oh, he does. O'Reilly's had a snap.
Wiggle.
He's had a snap through turn 1. Here comes Ben Rook inside of turn 2. O'Reilly's going to have to hold it strong around the outside. He is still there, and now tucks back in behind. So Ben gets the job done, and Ben Rook in the lead of this race now. He controls this pace.
He set that up from the last corner, was right on the back of O'Reilly, followed him all the way down, come right out to the outside, ready to take him on the inside. O'Reilly was a little bit wiggly through the first corner, and that's what got Ben up the inside. And lovely bit of strategy, lovely bit of strategic forward thinking from Ben, that was.
Now he controls the pace. He's the one in clear air, and O'Reilly, who's had clear air for nearly half this race, now in that dirty air of Ben Rook with a Honda that's twitching all over the place. Dan's giving O'Reilly a touring car flash of the lights. Dan's got to be cautious though, because he's got a very fast Jamal Clouden right behind him.
Yes, and I mean, depends how smart Kieran wants to be tonight, isn't it? He doesn't have to win this race. You know,
No.
He's got such a points deficit. If he could cruise in behind Ben, and it'd be damage limitation.
Yep.
What he does not want to do is force a situation that he ends up off the track. Just to make sure that he holds that position. Dan all over the back of O'Reilly now.
Mike Matthews into the pit lane.
Not as close as Ben was last time round, but he's dragging him out. O'Reilly's starting to struggle, I think.
De Bont's now just past Michael Harris through the second sector, so De Bont now will have clear air until he gets onto the back of Steve Millington. Mike into the pits. Kelly, jump on board Mike for me a second. Tell me when he's stationary in his box, and we'll just see how long that is. His dot's still moving on my screen.
Yeah, he's just rolling up. He's about second or first in the box. He stops now.
Okay, so he's stopped in the box now. So let's see if he's in for a long one. Well, it doesn't feel like a splash and dash, 'cause I feel like he'd have been dropped by this moment.
He would have been moving.
This is a longer strategy at the moment. Mike's last lap, what was his last lap before this one? It was a 37.6. That may be his in-lap, though. Yeah, that was his in-lap. So he's moving now.
Tyres, and he's taking out the pit board.
Tyres.
Yeah, I think two. I think two tyres on that one. He's lost it out of the exit. Lost it on the exit. Just got on the power too quickly and spun it round all by himself. Oh, Mike. That was a little bit of a rookie error, that one.
That was a Project Cars 2 Mike Matthews moment.
That was not that. Yeah, you didn't do yourself any favours there. Lost a load of time. But back to the front, they're still really close at the front.
And there's five of them now, because Matt Wright's joined the party. While you was watching Mike there, Matt Wright has joined this queue of cars. A brilliant night for Matt Wright so far. Well, the race strategy is playing out. Mike Matthews looks like he's taking tyres, so let's keep our eyes on Mike's pace, depending on how much he's hurt them there. Then Dan, that's very wide. Gets deep on the brakes a little bit there to possibly not cost himself a track limit warning. We'll see. Rob Ramsell into the pit, so let's see when Ramsell stops as well. In this race, this could be an interesting one, but it's Rook, O'Reilly, Davis, Cloud and Wright for the lead. And
we're coming back to a train again.
Could Matt Wright possibly be the first driver in the lower category to win an outright race?
Well, we've got a long way to go for that. I'm sure he would. I mean, he can see first place from here. But so can Cloud, and so can Ben, and so can O'Reilly.
And Dan.
So can Dan and O'Reilly.
Yeah.
You know, we're as I say, we're forming a train again. Got a little way back then to McGowan, probably 3 or 4 seconds. Again, De Bont is the one to watch.
This is tyres for Ramsell, by the way, because he's been in there for a while. Definite tyres.
Yeah, absolutely.
De Bont's last lap time, 33.2. Leaders lapping in the 32s now from Matt Wright up, all in the 32s. Okay. Matt Wright was actually the quickest of the 5 of them last lap.
Get on, go on, Matt.
So Matt Wright flying at the moment. The interesting one's going to see De Bont's times versus Mike's times now with fresh tyres.
Yes, indeed. That is going to be very interesting now. Where is Mike? Quite a way back for a minute, isn't he? But
Mike's just coming through sector 1 now, so he's 22 seconds behind Goudet, who's on the back of Rosowski, who's 2 seconds behind Harris, who's 1.5 behind De Bont. So he's about 25, 26 seconds behind De Bont. So let's see what that does with these tyres. You know, the advantage. Obviously, he's going to have an advantage because the grip's going to be there compared to going long anyway. That's on any circuit, that's a given. We've seen that this season with Overtaker, but around here it could be a little more coming to the back end of this race. This race could go any way, by the way. This could be any of these 5 to win this.
Absolutely, any of these 5 or even somebody else. We're just coming up half distance in a minute. I think we're going to start to see those on the 50-50 strategy start coming into the pits. We've seen Mike Matthews, we know what he's doing.
And Ramsell.
We've seen and Ramsell, Rosowski, De Bont, we know what they're doing. They've played their cards already. What are these top 5s doing? That's the big question. I think we'll start getting some answers in the next few minutes.
I think we will indeed. Can Jamal Cloud and find a way past Dan? He'd love to, as he nearly gets into the boot lid of him there. And Ben's not pulling away in this fight. And I just feel that Dan's not defending hard against Clouden. But I just feel that he's got one eye on Clouden. Clouden's run a little deep through the chicane. Dan's had a moment. Dan's had a massive moment. Can Jamal Clouden take advantage and get through? No, because Jamal's moment meant that he's not close enough. Looks to the outside on Dan Davis. That's not going to work through there. No, not at all. If Jamal didn't have a wiggle through that chicane, I think Jamal would have passed Dan there.
they both hit the bump. I was riding on board with Matt Wright, and they both hit that bump on the outside of the chicane, and it both unsettled them both. So that gave O'Reilly a bit of breathing space. But these two going at it.
There's a Davis chop if I've ever seen one from Dan there.
Oh, yeah. Probably learnt that one from the master, Mr. Duffin, the creator of the Duffin chop.
Cardno is into the pit lane. We'll see how long his stop is now. Interesting to keep our eyes on these lap times. Mike's last one was a 33 dead. De Bont did a 33 dead as well. So let's just wait and see what happens. But the leaders, top two in the 32s. Dan, Mike and Clouden all dropped into the 33s there. McGowan in the 32s, as was Hibbs. So good pace from these lots at the moment. Cardno in. That is a long stop for Cardno here in this one. So that could also be tyres. Clouden to the outside of Dan Davis here.
No, ain't going to happen, Jamal. Not out there. Half distance.
The problem is, though, is he can't take that title line because he was pretty much alongside Dan going into it. So he has to just go that little deeper to avoid hitting Dan. But yeah, Dan's under some pressure at the moment from these two.
Absolutely. Well, I think Matt Wright is just sitting back and biding his time as
Dan
Dan goes into the bump again.
Yeah, both of them. Not comfortable through that section at the moment. Cardo's coming out of the pits.
Horrible section. Horrible chicane. It's absolutely hateful. And they've both found it. They're just bumping over that chicane. I think Matt Wright is doing the smart thing, and it's just sitting and waiting for these guys to clout each other.
He's got dirty air, but he's not really using his tyres to attack or defend, is he? Not like Dan and Jamal here, as Jamal looks for the up and under on Dan Davis. Dan goes a little bit wide. Dan then tries to squeeze Jamal a little bit. Is Jamal going to be there on the inside? Not quite, but Dan has to not quite get the apex either. And they all come out as they were. Rob Smith now into the pit lane. He was on the back of class. And Matt Wright has got a watching brief. He's probably got the best seat in the house, bar us two.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, I'm in that seat. I'm in Matt Wright's seat, and Chris asking how I jumped to all these cars. Well, it's magic. But I'm on with Matt Wright right at the moment, and this is quite the dogfight. This is the kind of racing we like. We love a dogfight. And Clouden then, back in turn one, tried to get the up and under. Dan chopped across, but then went back one move, and then went back to his the braking zone to get it done. So good strategy thinking from both of these two to try and outsmart each other. And I say, I love a dogfight. Absolutely love it.
Rob Ramsell, 32.5, matching Ben with fresh tyres. De Bont, 32.9. Jamal looks like he's got a bit of an overlap on Dan Davis here. Dan's going to have to give him the room, and Jamal has to really brake to get out of that one. Dan did not want to leave him any gap there at all, and this has invited Matt Wright into the play there. Well, maybe a little naughty from Dan. Jamal was there.
It looked all right from where I was. As I said...
Jamal and Mathew.
Both dived to the pits. I thought Jamal did that was a very late dive by the looks of it.
I think he had a moment coming out and getting the power down, so it looked like he possibly was a bit squirrely. Harris has also done his stop. Yeah, interesting one. What this has done, though, is put Dan in fresh air. Nobody behind him to put him under pressure, because O'Reilly and Ben have absolutely pulled away while Dan's been under pressure from Jamal Clouden. Right, Mike must have had a moment. 34-1. On whatever he's doing at the minute. May have killed his tyres with his spin into the gravel. Rob Ramsell 33.2, De Bont 32.9. So yeah, Rob Ramsell at the minute. Let's see what happens. Ramsell is only 8 seconds behind Mike Matthews, and Goudet's pitted and Harris have pitted, and Mike and Rob Ramsell have gained them places. So Mike was 6th place? He was between Matt Wright and McGowan, wasn't he, before his pit stop? Clouden, Wright and McGowan are all in for tyres, because this is a long stop.
Sitting. Still sitting still. So definitely Clouden.
Wright's away.
Matt Wright's away. Is he going to jump Clouden? He is,
No, he's not.
Oh, it's going to be tight. I'm telling you,
Clouden's got a stop go. Speeding in the pit lane.
Too early.
Break yourself, fool, Jamal Clouden. That's what he wanted me to say, so I've said it.
Look at Mike.
But I've said
Look
it for
where
the
Mike is.
Yeah.
Do you want to have another go at it?
Right back to where he started.
Do you want to have another go at it?
That's what he says, so I've said it. It didn't come off right.
What was it?
Break yourself, fool.
Break yourself, fool.
Yeah, I didn't want to do it in the accent with the voice. Yeah, I didn't fancy it. The moment wasn't right, because it was stop go, not overtake.
No. Okay. Your timing was there. Maybe execution needs a bit of work. Well, it's okay. It's okay. It's all right. We all got it.
Yeah,
anyway, look at where Mike Matthews is.
Right back to where he started before the pit stop, but
Yes.
These three have all taken tyres.
All taken tyres. Yeah,
so it's
absolutely.
now, what happens when Dan and O'Reilly and Ben start to pit? What was Mike's last lap time? 33.4. Don't think he's taking the... Well, saying that, he's probably a little off of Dan and O'Reilly and Ben's pace at the moment. So, yeah, we can't... I'm unknown at the moment is where I am.
Yeah, again, De Bont and Rosowski are going to be the interesting ones, and if they can make these tyres work. They're in front of these guys now. You know, we're pretty sure that De Bont hasn't taken tyres, and I don't think Rosowski has.
No, they had very quick pit stops.
Yeah, Jamal's going to take his stop go. He'll be kicking himself for that. It might have just... I don't know if he uses a manual pit limiter button. I know some drivers do.
Yeah.
And, maybe just come off it a little bit quick, just trying to beat
Matt Wright's car. Did Matt Wright... No, he's got no damage. So it's not like Matt Wright's hit him and he's gone quick over the speed. So. I've seen that done this season. Not this season, but in previous seasons. But right, this is going to be interesting. Goudet's got class on the back of him at the moment, and Ben Rook has got O'Reilly breathing down his neck. Ben has not took advantage of this, but maybe on the flip side... Ben is doing an O'Reilly and just controlling the pace.
Is he trying to make these tyres go to the end, Matt? If he's controlling the pace...
I think if you're pitting for tyres, you're pitting by that 40 to 30 minute mark, Kelly. I think these are going to the end. The top three are one splash and dashing, I think. Or
trying to go to the end. It's going to... They can always still take those tyres, can't they? They can change their pit strategy.
Well, they can, but I think if you're committing to this, you're going to be silly.
Up the inside. Yes, I think if you're going to commit to it, you need to see it to the end. And class down the inside of John Gooday, and he's got that one done by the looks of it. Again, this has just been a strange old race, isn't it? We were nose to tail.
Having a look at the outside of Gooday here, and goes really wide around the outside. Goudet's got that inside line, and Smith gets it done. Yeah. Good move.
John was very close to the inside there, very, very close.
Doesn't look comfortable, does he, tonight? He had a good week at Snetterton and just not really seeing the best of John tonight.
No, absolutely. So, De Bont is now back into 4th place. Will his tyres go to the end? Is he going to have a massive drop-off?
Well, the top 5...
start losing it.
Because I think the top 3 are one-stopping. Yeah. I think if you're going to take tyres, you want at least half an hour.
Yeah.
The later they go... The less likely they are to take tyres. So the top 5, we know De Bont and Rosowski have splashed and dashed. Top 5, I think, aren't taking tyres. So now the question is where's Matt Wright to Rosowski? 25 seconds. Let's keep our eye on that gap.
That's the important one. If these fresh tyre runners can drag that gap down, but. Catching is one thing, passing is another. You're going to need these tyres to drop off and these guys to make serious mistakes.
Yeah, indeed.
Off-track mistakes.
Well, Dan's down in the 33s now. De Bont still 32s. Rosowski low 32s. But Matt Wright matching Rosowski quicker than the leaders is Matt Wright. I think Mike's spin has hurt his tyres because McGowan and Ramsell as well, low 32s. Cardno in the 32s as well. Jamal Clouden, by the way, down in 18th place, only seconds off the back of Stardog, so what can he recover from this race? Great pace from Jamal early on, just a shame for that stop-go penalty. But yeah, this is going to be an interesting race, I think. I think we're in for an exciting end. We've got Rob Smith on the back of Class here for 11th and 12th. Keep your eyes on this fight a little bit. Yeah, lap times are all over the place, Kelly, looking at this.
Yeah, I'm on board with O'Reilly. I've just stood up to try and stretch my legs a little bit. So I've just sat on board with O'Reilly. I'm going to stay here for a minute or two. He's only half a second off the back of Ben Rook. And Ben a little bit deep out of the last corner. So show some signs of tyre wear. And they're beginning to catch up to a back marker. I don't know who that is.
Yellow Ferrari, I think it was. Just looking at the track map, it's Steve Millington.
So... are the back markers going to start coming into play in a minute for these ones who are going to go late? Is this going to be just going to force a hand of a pit stop, or
Well, they've got a bit of a train. They've got Millington, Goudet, and then this fight of Class and Rob Smith. There's a bit of a gap between Smith and Goudet at the moment, but they've for sure got 4 back markers coming up that have all pitted and are all in a fight with each other.
Yeah. So there's a recipe for a problem. So is Ben starting to look at this and thinking, well, I'm going to do a short stop. Do I do it now? Get out. Do we have a loss for
we don't for Valencia, because the data I've got was done before Valencia was added to the game, so I don't have anything for Valencia.
So we don't have a loss, so we can't kind of
Goude's
time.
Just pulled over and let Millington go.
What is going on with John? Is he?
I'm not sure. I was just gone on them to see the fight develop, and Goude's just let him go.
Yeah, well, there you go. He looked reasonably compliant when the last guy went past him. So, yeah, maybe John's got a problem and he's just not getting in people's way. I don't know.
Yeah, possibly so. Either way, we'll find out.
Ben,
Rob Ramsell
very deep.
Is within 8 tenths now of McGowan. We said it was 25 seconds, didn't we? Rysowski to Matt Wright a moment ago. Dan's in. So has Dan seen the traffic and thought, want no part of that, I'm pitting?
Yeah, could well be. Could well be that. So
Matt Wright to Rysowski 24.6.
Yeah, so that's coming down slowly.
Well, here we go. Matt Wright 31.9 last lap. Rysowski 32.6.
Second and a bit. Isn't it?
No, just 7 tenths. 7 tenths.
Oh, sorry, 7 tenths. John Goude just off track there as well. I do wonder if he's.
He seems like he's struggling with some issue.
He's slowed right down at the leader's throat. Good move. Yeah. If he's struggling that bad, then through they come. Of course, a big gap now. The two front runners are the only two that haven't pitted now, with 24 minutes still to go. They're definitely going for a long strategy. So, but just as I say, just a case of when they decide to do it.
Yeah, these two are the closest fight on circuit as well at the minute, separated by 0.2 tenths of a second. So Dan, I feel, has gone in because of the traffic.
I think that what's he got to lose in the position that he was in?
Well, he splashed and dashed, and I'll tell you now, he's lost out to De Bont because of it. So Dan has lost out to De Bont. So I think the leaders may jump De Bont, but these 5 are going to be mightily close.
Yes, indeed. And how's this going to pan out, Matt? Does a pit stop give your tyres a chance to recover a little bit? Ben's in. Late dash to the thing.
It will cool them down, but I mean, you're not going to recover grip that's being lost, are you? Do you know what I mean? It'll get the temperature down a little bit, but
does it give them a rest? So my point being, De Bont on a no tyre change strategy and Dan on a no tyre change strategy. Who's got the upper hand tyres right now? It's a tough one, isn't it?
Yeah, because for me, I suppose it just depends who's done what on their stint. De Bont's ran in clean air more than Dan for a lot longer in this race due to pitting really early.
And Dan was having a scrap with Jamal.
And Matt Wright. Andy was behind Ben and O'Reilly pretty close at one stage. There's Ben coming out the pits, look. And as he comes out the pits, he's got a comfortable gap to De Bont, who's being hassled by Dan. So O'Reilly could slot into that big gap there. So Tough one at the moment. I don't know, Kelly, because Dan was definitely in the dirty area and was defending harder from Rysowski, but but De Bont was attacking O'Reilly and Ben a lot more earlier.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? It's the same strategy, but the opposite ends of the race, and well, they're both on track. They're exactly the same place. So it's just who's got the better tyres, who's looked after the tyres better, which car's better on the tyres. But it's looking like O'Reilly could jump straight back into that big gap, as you said. And I said it before, it wouldn't be the end of the world for O'Reilly just to follow Ben home. You know, Ben doesn't, although he gets a race win, he won't get massive points
Ben needs
advantage.
O'Reilly to have cars between himself and O'Reilly. That's what Ben needs.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Wright's got the gap down to 22.8, by the way. So Matt Wright has brought that gap down quite significantly. 31.7 for Matt Wright. Rysowski 33.0. De Bont 33.4 and O'Reilly 33.2. Matt Wright was 1.2 quicker than O'Reilly on the last lap.
Fastest man on the track at the moment, and enjoying those new tyres. So Matt Wright having an absolute stormer tonight, and as I say, dropping his teammate a little bit, isn't he?
Yeah, Mike could have done his tyres when he's had that spin out the pit lane. He's probably ruined his tyres there and then, because that could have been the end of that one for Matt. But Matt Wright at the moment, you know what? This could be 20 minutes left. Could he get Rysalski at least? But it depends on the drop-off of these tyres at the front runners at the moment. That's going to be the big question. I think we're already starting to see it. De Bont in the 32.9s last time around. Rysalski's time's not updated. Dan was a 33.0. So tough one at the moment. But Matt Wright's certainly the man with pace so far, and we'll see. Be interesting to see what happens.
Yes, indeed. I wonder if we're going to start getting a few track limit violations towards the end as well.
Been very well behaved in terms of track limits at the moment. Chris saying that perfect stop from Ben, but O'Reilly seems to be sliding loads. Well, he's been sliding loads all day, but
yeah, he has. Yeah.
That's what's going to take the life out of the tyres.
Yes, it is. But if anybody can nurse it back, it's Kieran O'Reilly.
Oh, 100%. Cloudon's passed Stardog. So that's Cloudon up to 17th place. Dan's dropped off the back of De Bont and into the clutches of Rysalski a little bit here.
Dan had a bit of a moment. He went very deep on the first corner, and it looks like he stood on the brakes a little bit, probably to avoid him getting a track limits penalty. We can't see how many warnings that people have had, but if you get 3 strikes on the 4th one, you get a drive-through penalty. So. So I don't know how many any of these guys have got, because we don't get that information. But it looked like Dan just stepped off it a little bit when he went deep in turn 1. So that's what kind of key triggered me saying about track limits. And we've seen you say they've been very well behaved, but certainly people I've been on with have been abusing them. So
Well, Dan at 33.4 last lap for his troubles. De Bont and Rysalski 32.7s, as was O'Reilly. Ben a 32.8. So O'Reilly still matching Ben's pace at the moment, and a little tenth or two quicker could be the difference in the pit stops. Let's not forget. So while Ever O'Reilly's just slightly quicker at the moment, where's Ben Ruck on track now? Ben Ruck, this is the problem for Ben. Look, he's got the traffic of Stardog and Cloudon in front of him. So Ben at the moment struggling. The only thing he can hope for is Cloudon have the same pace as he did earlier. We know Cloudon's took tyres, so he needs Cloudon to have that same pace to pull away, or if not, keep the gap at a relatively comfortable distance.
Yes, indeed, and yes, exactly that. Sorry, I was just trying to look at 2 or 3 things at once and not multitasking very well. Dan has still stayed off the back of De Bont a little bit now, so this is kind of a normal strategy for Kieran, isn't it? He likes to go very long in the feature race, so he's sticking to his normal strategy, and let's see how this pans out for him. Is he still in clean air at the moment?
He's coming up to the back of Steve, but nothing major at the moment. Got a battle with Harris and Goudet on the track at the moment, so let's see what happens here. But Ben's cleared Stardog, so interesting one at this moment in time. Definitely though, the De Bont, Dan and Rysalski fight's going to be one to keep our eyes on as the gap comes down. Matt Wright's now just under 21 seconds to that of Rysalski, so the time still coming down from Wright on Rysalski, who was the other driver who pitted significantly earlier than anybody else with De Bont. And interesting at the moment. This is the fight currently between Goudet and Harris.
Yeah, absolutely. And is John now re-engaged a bit? Because he seemed to be letting everybody pass. Does he now,
seems to be fighting.
Has he finished his cup of tea and now decided to do a bit of racing, or
not sure what the issue's been there, but Harris and him was having a fight at the first part of the race. They're going at it again now. Rysalski still within 8 tenths of Dan within a second of De Bont. This is your closest fight between Harris and Goudet on track at the moment.
I'm on board with Rysalski, just keeping a watching eye on the back of Dan, who's keeping a watching eye on the back of De Bont. So as you say, this might turn into a bit of a ding dong later towards the end of this race. I tell you what, Matt, I do like that BMW.
Yes,
if I was choosing a car on looks alone, that'd be the one.
Lovely.
That would be the one. It's a lovely looking car.
Ben last lap took 7 tenths out of O'Reilly.
O'Reilly have a moment, or Ben quick? What do your lap times tell you?
So 32.4 for Ben and 33.1 for O'Reilly. So Ben's lap time really impressive, to be fair, matching that of Matt Wright, just a bit slower than Matt Wright.
On used tyres, remember?
On used tyres. So now the only thing that would ring alarm bells to me is, was it a potential track limits violation?
Yeah, maybe.
Who knows? We'll see what happens. But yeah, interesting from Ben that. But yeah, 7/10 taken out of Kieran O'Reilly there. And O'Reilly's still not got past Steve Millington yet. And he's not really close to the back. Steve's just going to come off this fight a second. He's not really close to the back of Steve. So can't really say that Steve's holding him up here, I'd say, because he's not close enough. The blue flags aren't flying. And they fly when you're about just a second to the car in front that you're about to put a lap on. So there's no blue flags being waved for Steve at the moment. So he's not holding O'Reilly.
Starkdog going very deep to let the leaders, the three of them, pass him. So great work from Stardog there, just not getting involved in a fight he doesn't need to get involved in. He's not scrapping with anyone himself, so stays well out of the way. Good driving. Yeah,
indeed. Clouden, that was the fastest lap. Yeah, so Jamal Clouden, that was a 31.7 was the fastest lap there from him. So heck of a lap time from Jamal.
Yeah, I mean, Clouden now has probably just resigned himself to the fact that the only thing he's going to get out of this is the glory of a fastest lap, because that stop-go, as you know, a stop-go in pro is just, it's just ruined your race, doesn't it?
Yeah, it has indeed. Let's see what happens. And we're back with the John Goudet and the Michael Harris fight. We'll keep our eyes on them gaps further forward, though. Dan's back down to De Bont. Rosowski's kind of kept the same gap to Dan as what it was. Just going to look at O'Reilly again. In fact, no, sorry, let me look on Steve Millington. That'll give me a better point of view here. I still can't, Kelly, see any blue flags.
Right.
So O'Reilly still isn't close enough for Millington to be deemed as more than 3 corners. He now gets out the way. So maybe he's got a blue flag going into the final corner. Oh, and he's just lost all the time pulling out the way, and O'Reilly pits.
Oh dear. Oh dear. You're supposed to know, I suppose, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Right, where's Ben Rupp? Here he is at the little chicane. No traffic in front of him. Clattered the sausage curb hard there, did Ben. We'll keep our eyes on when O'Reilly stops. This is Ben's opportunity now. I don't think De Bont's in this fight for O'Reilly and Ben. I think Ben... Oh, no track warnings for Ben, says Chris. O'Reilly stopped.
Yeah, for ages, says
Go
Chris.
Green
but
now.
Has he had some?
Well, yeah, exactly. This is the problem. Ben's going to get O'Reilly. Ben's going to comfortably get O'Reilly here. There we go. Through he goes. Done. O'Reilly will not be passed by De Bont, but it's now O'Reilly to hunt down Ben Rupp. The thing is, O'Reilly will take that. Oh, he might not. He has a massive slide. Manages to hold it all together, though. Whoa, that was a scary moment. O'Reilly will take this, though, Kelly. O'Reilly will take following Ben home. Ben needs more than O'Reilly to be behind him.
Yeah, De Bont isn't a million miles away, though, is he? So that means that...
he's not, but he's got a real white, blue and yellow Lamborghini right under the rear wing. So I'm going to have her to guess that he's going to struggle to catch O'Reilly while Davis and Rosowski's there.
Yeah, you missed out the word beautiful, white and blue Lamborghini. No. It's the word you missed out there. It actually is.
It's not, though. It's
but not as pretty as that Beamer.
You know what I mean?
Well, white. I told you this before. Basic rules of the lines of a car: black, red, or white. Other than that, it's all rubbish.
Red, fine, but black and white, no, not a fan. Not a fan.
Black's beautiful. How can you say not a fan of black? Oh, Mathew, we need to have... No, we've had words about it, but we need to have more words about it.
More words, yeah. Teach me more, Kelly. Well, Ben's got a comfortable 4.2 second gap, by the way, so Ben is really in cruise control now. But he had a great gap at Snetterton. We know what happened there a week ago.
That. You said exactly what I was thinking there, Matt. He had a comfortable grip on Snetterton and managed to cock it up, to be fair.
So if you go back to last week, he wins that, he takes 5 points off O'Reilly. He takes another 5 points in this race at the minute off of O'Reilly. That's another 10. He's already took 19 off of him. Gap's down to 47 with... going into a race that would have 133 points up for grabs. It's a little more doable, you know.
Yes, it is. But playing devil's advocate here, and the biased side of me wants Ben to win this championship. Although that may cost me more skills next year, we'll see.
100%.
Yeah. Oh no. We're not doing this on. You've made yourself his manager or whatever. This is just not. Yeah, it's not happening. Anyway, I would love to see Ben win this one, but playing devil's advocate here, It's still a big mountain to climb. He needs O'Reilly drop to be further down the pack. He needs Dan to cruise up, do De Bont, and do O'Reilly.
Yeah, well, Dan's dropped off De Bont. So this could allow De Bont to pressure O'Reilly more.
Yeah, Ben needs more cars between, but Ben's doing exactly what he can do. He can only do as much as he can do. He's doing the absolute maximum.
Chris has just said in the chat, that Ben for driver of the day. I think Ben's now a proven podium person. He will be in the list for driver of the day.
Yeah.
I have somebody else already in mind.
Yeah, I have too, actually. Yeah.
I think we're thinking the same person.
We might be thinking, for once we might be thinking on the same page. You're still wrong about white cars, but we might be thinking on the same page. We'll see. But yeah, I mean, I've already thought about driver of the day, and yes, Ben's driving a champion's drive. That's the way I'm putting it. This is exactly what he needs to do at this part of the season. But my question is still, is it enough? From experience, I know what it's like to win races but lose championships.
I don't think it's enough. I think Ben needs to be behind these three. Rosowski has a massive slide out the corner. I think O'Reilly, needs to be behind these three. McGowan's now on the back of Mathews at the moment. Ramsell's got Hibbs right behind him as well. Just going to stick with McGowan, not close enough yet. Ramsell defends that inside line over Hibbs a little bit. Coming into turn one. Ramsell in a P9. Strong result for Rob again. And Hibbs in 10th. These two going under the radar once again, but a good, strong race for the both of them. And sitting in the top 10 at the moment. Right then, so we're into the final 10 minutes. The drivers to vote for is on that list. Ben Ruck, Rosowski, Matt Wright and De Bont. I think it's going to be an interesting one to see who gets the votes in this, to be fair, because I think all four of them have had a terrific night. O'Reilly could have possibly been on that. Yeah. In fact, no, O'Reilly had a poor race one. Dan was last in race one. Cloudon's had a good race too, but the stop-goes ruined it. Race one, can't remember where he finished. So I think them four are the best four of this evening. And I think one of them deserves that, to be fair. Absolutely,
I totally agree. Although Rosowski's had a good drive this evening as well. I think he might be. Was he on the list?
Yeah. Rosowski, right, De Bont.
Okay, I beg your pardon. I've already closed the poll. And I think he might be my new favourite non-SimPlay related driver after Hooper. Do we feel like there's just a BMW thing going on here?
Potentially so, yeah. Potentially so. Now, De Bont is gaining slightly on O'Reilly. O'Reilly's not catching Ben Ruck, so Ben at the minute has got no pressure so far. The bonus for him is that Cloudon has punched in some good lap times and that he's now pulled away.
Yeah. And has got the fastest lap.
Yeah.
He could do with having that back.
He could do with having that back. I don't think he's going to get it, but O'Reilly's not got it.
Yeah. No, I don't think any of these are going to be on used tyres.
No,
are going to do that. What's the gap now to Matt Wright? What's Matt Wright doing?
20 seconds. So it looks like his tyres are just starting to lose a bit of performance because he did a 32.8, and these boys are in the low 33s. It looks like the advantage hasn't been there. They've not had the, I was expecting a bit more drop off if I'm going to be honest with these conditions tonight. They haven't dropped off as bad as I first thought, but obviously it's driver preference, isn't it? And if you're not comfortable at going the full distance and changing tyres, I think 6th is a great result for Matt and for Mike in 7th with the change of tyres in this one. But De Bont's within a second of O'Reilly and Dan's with him and Rosowski's with him. So, yeah.
Top 5, certainly 2 down to 5 is shaping up for a bit of a showdown towards the end. Are we getting to be a bit like Formula 1 here?
O'Reilly's dropped it! O'Reilly's around at turn 1 with 7 minutes to go. The championship leader's in 5th. And where's Matt Wright? He's just clipped the wall all by himself. Matt Wright is only just coming across the start line. That will really hurt O'Reilly's tyres. That will have killed whatever grip O'Reilly is struggling to keep. He's gone round again. He's round again. Kelly, the tyres are done on that Honda.
Yeah.
The tyres are done. And he's now 5th. Matt Wright's coming.
He needs to just take his time and bring these pressures down a little bit and get this car back into an operated window if he's going to salvage anything out of this, because Matt Wright is here. He's right behind him, and now Matt Wright is going to have a sniff of another position, and he's going to want to take it. Kieran
and he's got superior grip, Kelly. Matt Wright as well has got superior grip, and O'Reilly's not comfortable at the moment. We could see Matt Wright just cruise past the championship leader, and it all of a sudden could be 6th place for Kieran O'Reilly. Where's Mike? Mike's 9th 9 seconds behind. If he didn't have that spin, that would have really been interesting to see where Mike could have been in this race. But it's 6 minutes left, and O'Reilly's tyres could be done. The downside now is, what are Ben, De Bont, Dan and Rosowski's tyres looking like?
Absolutely, Ben needs to keep his head down and just keep it all pointing in the right direction. Just keep it smooth and not leery at all, because O'Reilly is having a nightmare now. He's the back end of that Honda was loose earlier. Now it's downright disconnected.
And the points difference at the minute, Kelly, I can tell you, would be, if Ben was to win this race to O'Reilly in 6th, it would be 18 points. So Ben would look... Sorry, no, O'Reilly's 5th. It would be 15 points. He'll be 18 if Matt Wright gets past. There's Mike and McGowan in the background. O'Reilly can ill afford yet another moment. Car number 48 is off. That is Rosalski, who's now had a moment. Just saw the yellow flag next to his name. And O'Reilly's sideways again. The tyres are dropping off a cliff here in Valencia.
Yes, indeed, another heart in the mouth moment. I was just starting to.
I think Dan and Rosowski's had a moment. Sorry, Kelly, because Dan's also 6 seconds behind De Bont now. So I think the pair have had a moment.
Yes, indeed. Don't know where to go again. This is hotting up towards the end. Matt Wright on the back of O'Reilly. Wazowski on the back of Dan Davis, and the tyres are dropping off. Really, really quickly. And I was going to say earlier, are we getting a little bit like Formula One? Start chit-chatting about how tyres are going to be a problem, and they don't. We've done it all season, but it looks like our wish is coming true, and the tyres are starting to drop off. And
the question now, though, as well, is what happens if Rosowski and Dan have even more dramas? O'Reilly still fending off Matt Wright. I'm sure Matt Wright would be loving to get a top 5. Not only the gold win, but a top 5 overall would be huge for Matt Wright. And O'Reilly just struggling. You can see the grip difference between Wright and O'Reilly. You can't really tell between Rosowski and Dan because they've both had, their dramas, and they're both on the same tyre life as well. But De Bont now clear for second place. Dan's in a fight for a podium, and at the minute, Matt Wright pressuring Kieran O'Reilly in this race.
Matt, and I swear to God, before I say this, I mean, we want a championship showdown, and I swear to God to everybody on here, I'm not biased when it comes to it. I'm just doing it for the comedy moment. I want to see a showdown at the end, and I think Ben's going to give us one. For Donny Park next week, and that's what we want. I wish Kieran O'Reilly, probably the wrong Kieran there just then, Kieran O'Reilly, the absolute best. He's been a great driver, and I will be very happy to see him take the championship. But we just want to scrap, don't we?
Oh my God, yeah.
And I'm not being biased, but go on, Ben, take this one home, and let's sort it out at Donny.
Well, it will go to Donny, that's for sure, but what will the gap be? That's the question. At the minute, Ben could take a further 18 points, which would be a net 37 points that Ben would have taken out of Kieran O'Reilly tonight. The gap was 76, remember. O'Reilly got the point for pole. There will be no fastest lap point here. That will go the way of Jamal Clouden, who's got past Goudet. Goudet's down to 17th place now. But I'm also flicking between Dan and Rosowski, because if them two had a moment because of their tyres... and if they have a major spin like O'Reilly's just had a couple, that could bring Matt Wright into play there, but it could also give O'Reilly a couple of places back.
Yes, it could. Well, I say this race isn't over. 2.5 minutes. These guys, O'Reilly must be just trying to hang on to that car. Ben must be just thinking, let's keep it cool. And Dan the same, just trying to keep Rosowski in check. Honestly, I'm on board with...
Realistically, Kelly, it doesn't matter what happens between Dan and Rosowski. After Dan's race won, he is still mathematically in this championship fight, but he'll know that he's not really. He's 111 points behind. Dan will know he's not really in this fight at all. So it doesn't really matter between Dan and Rosowski, does it? What Dan's got to do is not make contact with Rosowski for them both to have a moment and O'Reilly to get an extra place or two.
Yes, absolutely. I'm sure with all things that are going on, I'm sure Dan's going to play wingman to Ben in the last round now for sure. But Dan doesn't want to give away a podium either.
No, of course he doesn't. Of course he doesn't at all. But sometimes thinking about Donny and thinking of that race ahead instead of fighting too hard and maybe having a moment and allowing O'Reilly, you've got to think if Rosowski and Dan have a coming together in whichever way, and that opens the door for O'Reilly again, then all of a sudden you sit there and you think, well, Dan's already had a moment race one. as Ben starts the final lap of this race. Dan's already had a moment race 1, so he's just got to think, I can't afford another moment like that, because that'll give O'Reilly more points. He's just got to bring this car home, podium or not. He's got to bring it home. Well, Dan's going defensive over Rosowski. He's going to force Rosowski to the outside. This could be the moment that Rosowski takes that podium away from Dan. I don't think Dan will complain too much, because it's all about them championships. Dan to the inside line. Rosowski swoops right around the outside, and Dan, there look, doesn't fight it overly too hard.
No,
I don't think that's a bad thing for Dan to do. He does not want to let O'Reilly have a sniff.
No, if he's playing the team game, then exactly right. They've got a huge gap back to O'Reilly, but an off would change that. So yeah, maybe Dan playing the team game now and just bringing it home, keeping those positions between Ben and Kieran.
Rosowski now on for a double podium tonight. Are all platinum to bronze driver class wins still open for Donington? Yeah, the class wins are always open. Championship-wise, I'll have to get back to you, Rob Smith, on the championship-wise in terms of that.
I did understand
and
that.
I'll let you know. Basically, platinum, championship, gold championship, silver, and the bronze can people still win them categories? Which next season, okay, Rob, may become an actually official championship. So it could be an actual championship thing on the line compared to this season.
Oh, but, I see. Is it all mathematically possible to do it? Yeah. Right, yeah.
Right, Ben Rook's round the final corner. He's weaving towards the line. He's going to take the checkered flag. It's back-to-back at Valencia for Ben Rook. DeBont's going to come home for P2. Kelly, don't take your eyes off Wright and O'Reilly. DuPont will cross the line for P2. Rosowski and Dan going at it. Rosowski's going to come home to take P3. Dan's going to get to the line with him. And Rosowski and Dan cross the line third and fourth. O'Reilly and Matt Wright. Matt Wright's last chance. Can he get a better exit? Don't think he's going to. Too far back. O'Reilly then will keep it to 17 points in this race. He will be P5. Matt Wright, the gold win once again. P6 for him. He's had 3 gold wins in a row now. They're his first 3 wins of the season. Mike Matthews, P7 overall for Ian McGowan. Rob Ramsell's going to fend off Hibbs for a P9. Him and Hibbs have gone at it all night as well. 9th and 10th for them two. Great result for them two. Goudet and Starlog have finished a lap down in 17th and 18th. Class. Normally see him have a good fight at the front of gold. Not tonight. Not been his race night tonight. He will cross for 11th. Cordno P12. Then Rob Smith will be 13th before Steve Millington in 14th place. A little further back at the moment, but we'll get the championship results in just a few moments' time. Obviously, no drop scores. This is the first week without drop scores.
Yeah, it's like McDonald's car park in turn 1 at the moment. They're all doing donuts, and Ben, stop it. I've got to use those tyres next week for Donny, so we can't waste them. But he's just, look at him just burning up those tyres and damaging that engine. Behave yourself. But as I say, it's like McDonald's car park out there. It's like the end of the season. What are they all doing donuts for? Jamal
Clouden, 16th place in the end with the fastest lap. He'll be bitterly disappointed with that stop-go penalty towards his name. But what a night, Kelly, here at Donington Park. I'm just inputting the results before we head over to the Discord chat. But Valencia, sorry, we head to Donington Park. Weather looks like it's a very mixed weather. It's a proper Donington Park. We love a good mixed condition. Donington Park, the home of SimPlay Motorsport, the home of the SimPlay Straight. Every driver, by the way, on that driver of the day list deserves it, I think. DeBont, Rosowski, double podiums. Ben, double win. Ben win and a double podium for him because Rosowski won the first race. Absolutely fantastic. Where is class? He finished in P11. Right, we will be back in a moment. I will load the Discord sheet up and then the Patreon sheet up, and we'll be back in the Discord chat in just a moment. We are live now in the commentary box inside the Discord chat. Kelly Davis is with us as well. What a day of racing.
Well, Well, I wasn't expecting that, to be honest with you, Matt. I didn't expect tonight to be that exciting, to be honest. And maybe that's an element of the tyres. Maybe that's an element of a track that we don't. A lot of the guys don't drive very often. But I think the pros tonight really showed their class. I think there was some excellent driving up and down the field tonight, and some great racing. And this is why SimPlay is the premier console league in the world. So. Because we've got racing like that, and tell all your friends, because it's good here. Driver of the day, as you said, I totally agree that all those guys in that top 4 should be driver of the day. But for me, it's going to be Matt Wright. I think he drove a real cracking race tonight, was right there in the mix, punching well above his weight. For me, Matt Wright. But as I said, honourable mentions to all of them, and the whole field was great. And no, Chris, we're not having M4s for next season. Too expensive.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to agree with you. I think I'm going to have to go for Matt Wright as well, as Rosowski first win in a podium, then we've got Ben a win in a podium, De Bont double podium as well. But for me, Matt Wright, the work he did race 1 back of the grid to high up in that first race, and then his race 2 pace was sticking with the top 5. He took tyres in that race, and that's what's put him so far off that top 5 pack, if you will. But Matt Wright, what was his results? A 5th and a 6th, back of the grid to 5th, and then a 5th place. Mike Matthews, honourable mention, 7th, good for him. Ramsell and Hibbs, they've had a good night as well. But yeah, my vote's for Matt Wright as well. And with the looks of the Discord, the YouTube chat at the minute, that's going the way of Rosowski at the moment. And to be fair,
fair shout.
I don't think you could argue with any of the 4 on that list.
No, absolutely.
Double podiums for them 3, and then a gold driver to finish 5th and 6th with 7 platinums in that category. Superb for him. We are, though, speaking with, I believe it is only Ben Rook who is in this chat with us. We have got Matt Wright. Matt Wright's just joined us. So
he's just sucking up his glory of me and you giving him driver of the day. So
my ears are burning. My ears are burning.
Well, it feels like an overall win, doesn't it? You've done so well tonight.
It really does, mate. It really does.
Well, as Kelly's always said, I
wasn't expecting too much.
Kelly's always said, mate, driver of the day is better than a race win. So there you go. You don't need to win a race.
That's because I've got more driver of the days than I have race wins. So that's why.
But Matt, welcome to the comms box. First of all, it's been a while since we had you. I think it was Spa last season when you won the sprint race that we've last seen you in the comms box. That was a heck of.
I'm really shocked myself, to be honest. I was looking at the lap times sort of coming into this week, and I was about half a second off, and I just could not find it. And then something just clicked tonight. I got lucky in the sprint. There was a bit of a coming together in front, and I managed to dodge it and pass about 4 cars, I think. And the feature race was, like you were just saying, I did take tyres. I was sort of thinking I'd rather be in the situation at the end of the race where I can push on a fresher set of tyres. It was great keeping up with the front guys to start off with. Made me feel like I actually had pace. But I was always going to drop off, and I was never going to be able to catch them taking tyres. But the objective is just to finish ahead of Mike at the moment. He's obviously my championship contender. So the strategy worked, and that happened.
What did you think when O'Reilly had spun? Because he dropped it at turn 1, dropped it at turn 2. You was very close.
I was driving so well out there, to be honest. I actually felt like I had a chance.
I think you did, yeah.
Yeah. He got a little bit wobbly going into turn 1 on one of the laps, and I nearly went into the back of him. I just managed to hold it, and he nearly lost it again. I think it was the lap after he had spun, so his tyres were probably on fire.
The back of that Honda looked extremely loose, didn't it?
Yeah, so that was making me a little bit nervous, trying to get too close with him just in case he sort of lost the end again. And I didn't want to end up ruining my race. I saw that Mike was kind of closing in a little bit behind me. So I just wanted to keep it clean, and in the end I just settled to follow him around.
Just a word on your teammate quickly. Did he take tyres?
He didn't.
He didn't take tyres?
He 50-50 fueled, but didn't take tyres.
That makes the calamity pit exit moment less embarrassing, I suppose, because the tyres would have been worn. You must have had a good chuckle about him spinning on the pit exit.
That's not nice, Matt.
You've got to ask these questions as a journalist.
Okay.
I'm sure we'll all have
tough journalism tonight. Tough journalism.
Chuckle at the end of
I'd never wish that. I'd never wish that on him. I'd always,
Good
I want to
answer.
go fighting down to the end. It's been, I think, all the way up till he missed a week. I think there was 6 points between us for the entire championship. It's started to stretch it a little bit now. But it's been a brilliant fight with him. Brilliant fight.
Well, you've got a 40-point lead in that gold standings. Now, obviously, a lot of talk going into next season. The categories may become actual championships overall instead of just, a bronze and a gold category, if you will, and then having the winner of silver and platinum be the winner of pro and pro-am. There's a lot of talk going into this for next season. Obviously, it means a lot to these drivers in these categories at the moment for gold and bronze. They want them honours going into next year.
Yeah.
It's always something to be proud of, isn't it? Even though it's not an official championship now, being the leader of gold.
Yeah, 100%. I think it was always, there's a few good drivers in gold. Skunky, who obviously hasn't raced much this season. Mike, he's always been a little bit quicker than me. Mike, Leger. There's some good drivers in gold. And to sort of be up there, I know some of the other guys have missed some races, so it's given me an advantage. But to be fighting with them has been brilliant.
We go to Donington Park next week. Weather looks...
Yeah.
I just have to wait and see again. It'd probably be the sort of thing that it seems to be a bit of a theme that I'm kind of struggling, searching for pace, and then it comes together on the night, and just have to hope for that again, I think.
Better it happens that way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I can say that you've also been tied with Rosowski on the final audience, so commentators and audience, joint driver of the day.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, guys.
Well, Matt, right, congratulations. We can quickly move now on to Rosowski in the chat. Double podium, first race win as well in the sprint. Great race for yourself tonight. That BMW looked really, really...
Oh, mate. Honestly, I didn't struggle that much. The car felt amazing. The tires, I've practiced like 3-4 long stints, so I was ready for that. I was kind of worried about the tires because in practice I was reaching 1.4 tread, 1.6. So in the race I finished it with 1.3 and still had a decent pace. So it felt amazing. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. And sorry to Dan Davis because I've touched him like 2-3 laps to go and spun him, but I waited for him, so yeah. Other than that, yeah, amazing race, amazing pace. Happy to be on the podium. To get the first win in a sprint, it's also very nice. Although I was starting from pole, so it was a lot easier than I expected. Yeah, happy to be here.
Yeah. It was a great second race throughout. You look at them fights you had O'Reilly, Ben, Dan Davis was there, so was De Bont. You also had a couple of the gold drivers, Matt Wright, Mike Matthews, McGowan, all making themselves a nuisance. That opening stint.
Yes. It happened the same what happened to me at Paul Ricard. So I started my race, I gained position or two. This time I gained one, and then one mistake led to another, and I was like P7 at some point. So I was like, I know I have pace, I just need a bit of clean air. And it happened perfectly because I exited pits like 5 seconds behind DuPont, and he just dragged me with himself. It was nice. The traffic was also playing into our hands, so it was all good.
All good indeed. Obviously, you've had a few pedal issues, which is why you've not been with us in recent weeks. They've all been sorted tonight. Donington Park next. What can we do?
My last race at Donington, I've had 2 drive-thrus.
Track limits?
Yeah, and one extra track limit. So I hope I'm gonna be avoiding those like crazy. Other than that, if I finish top 5, I'm gonna be super happy.
Well, congratulations, Snipe. Super drive tonight. You got the joint driver of the day by the audience. Really well done. Congratulations.
Great drive. Well done.
Thank you.
And we've got Ben Rook in with us. So just before we speak to Ben, the championship standings going into next week is 42 points. Dan is mathematically possible, but 108 behind. So not realistically in this one at all, because there's only 133 points left up for grabs. So Ben, the first question really, before we...
Oh yeah, absolutely.
In that case, Kelly, we need a chat.
Number one driver.
We need a chat off air with Kelly to get a skittle pay rise.
No.
Solid day for you today, Ben. Again, 2 podiums, race winning that feature race.
I am loving this Lambo. If I just wish the season started off like it has now. Obviously, the first few rounds were quite poor. I've mainly sold over P24.
Yeah.
And ever since then, I've just been going up and up and up, and now I'm winning races constantly. And this win makes up for Snetterton.
Now,
well, you're stuck with a Lamborghini for the next 3 seasons, so enjoy it.
Now, the rumour was that you've got yourself hold of a load cell pedal. The rumour that I heard was...
Yeah, I did not like it. I tried it yesterday. I hated every bit of it. I was so much more consistent, comfortable, quicker with just a normal brake pedal.
I bet you're glad you didn't put it on now, aren't you, for the race?
Extremely happy.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, it's just interesting. Do you think it's something that you just need time to get used to, the load cell pedal? And is that going to be a kind of a bit of a project for the off season?
I'm not sure yet. I don't know if I'm going to use it or not. I don't think I'll get used to it. So I think I'm just going to stick with the normal pedal.
I think whatever you whatever's comfortable for you, and I think what would be a lovely gesture is to donate it to the team boss, and let him fight with it.
Maybe.
Your pause says everything.
You need a Fanatec before you can get yourself the.
I know. Yeah, let's not get into that now. We haven't got all night.
Hopefully, well. In the Aston previously, I've done okay. Not last season. 2 seasons ago, I had a disconnection, but I was keeping pace up with like P3. So that was a big motivation for me, and I'm hoping that I can bring that into the Lambo.
Well, tonight, Ben, you took the race win. You've got the gap down to 42 points. Congratulations on the race win and the podium in race 1. We'll see you next time out at Donington Park.
Congratulations.
And congratulations to the podium as well.
Yeah, thank you. Congrats.
And that then, Kelly, wraps up the week of Valencia here. What a week it's been. Genetics, Pro-Am and Pro all done. If you want to join us live next week, we've got all the action coming back your way.
Don't miss it.
Once again, Dan Davis and Alexa Marshall will be live on Tuesday night for the Who Darren Cup finale. Teams Championship is still on the line in that one. So make sure you join us for that. And Pro-Am, Vitas versus Langley. Huge fight. That is also, I believe, 42 points. 44 points in that one going into the final 2 rounds at Donington Park. And 42 between Dan and... between Kieran O'Reilly and Ben. What we can announce, though, and I've been keeping this till the very end because I know Kelly's going to go over the top with it. Team Audio Sport or your constructors winners for season 5. Now, don't forget, all results are provisional until the steward in his car. So keep your eyes on Discord or on social media.
Don't worry, mate, we've got it.
The minute the tables are posted, that is when you know that the results are confirmed. So the minute you see us
but we got this.
Discord or on social media, that is when they are confirmed. But Audio Sport are your Season 8 Constructors winners. There's no biased commentators, as you can tell in the...
No, absolutely not.
But it's been a fantastic night, Kelly. Donington Park, we're looking forward to it.
It's just got a lot better, Matt. Yeah. It's just got an awful lot better all of a sudden. Yeah, I'm back out on track. Do you know what's going to be interesting about Donington next week, Matt, is that most drivers love Donington Park. So if you enjoy a track, you give it your best. I think all week long next week is going to be a fantastic week at Donington Park. So I suggest you guys don't miss any of it. Any of it at all.
You're not going to want to miss a single thing. Who Darren Cup, Dan Davis and Alexa Marshall live in the commentary box with the finale of that. Dan Davis will be in the box for Pro-Am as well. And then myself and Kelly. Sweet and Sticky in your box. And that's just Ben's Skittle bonus for Donington Park finale next week on SimPlay Motorsport. Remember, hit that thumbs up button if you like what you see here. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. And hit that bell to be notified when we are live, as well as go to the description and check out our fantastic sponsors, Design Manchester and Audio Sport. What a week Valencia has produced. We go to Donington Park, the home of SimPlay Motorsport. Can Ben do it? Can Vitas or Langley do it? And who will win that Constructors in the Who Darren Cup?